like $2 extra if you work like a night on a holiday. But then you get like a dollar for a weekend shift.
$1.
Yep. Dollar and
I wouldn't even help you at McDonald's.
Right.
I don't have a dollar maybe. No comment.
So like.
Are we recording? Careful what you say. We'll start with good morning.
About 50,000 where distribution center.
But they have
Parking lot,
so
driveway.
many really great, programs.
Good morning, how's it going?
Granite.
How's it going?
It's
going good.
It's not, they come to.
Uh-oh,
You get down
Don't
there,
tell my
get,
friend, John.
emails from the school.
it
because they-
includes 6,950
Yep.
square feet of
They
proposed
put on all that kind of
wetland
stuff.
filling.
And they also talk about what. like,
Well, yeah.
help people-
Tilton,
help people
this, we're talking about the
do
Amazon
career
purchase
choices,
down in
which I
Tilton.
think really interesting too, like.
7,000
these
square
little
feet of wetland. Oh
What do you
my
like? What do you
God.
that kind of thing?
Oh,
And then
great.
it
This
goes
is
on
really
there,
much.
they
I
go-
heard, huh?
It's like you can go.
How they get that, William?
Zoom call and say, okay, this is what.
I heard it on.
Yeah,
wetland.
If you want to do this, you're saying,
Crazy
hey,
wetland
Yes.
areas.
I know, I've seen that down in Plymouth.
That's really good info.
Yeah.
Open gallery there. But I don't like it, being a conservation.
Right now, that's easiest. Yeah.
She only qualified for.
So my property, the house.
Yeah.
One point, had a
Yeah.
very small.
Pretty much written essays for.
Right.
There's a little stream right behind it.
Well, that's, yeah, behind me.
Like, you're gonna.
But in the lot, and it turns out that when they put the road in up there,
The road in front.
in front of me.
Yeah.
they-
But what other job can you spend an hour or two on and get like?
All the water
8,000?
flows down past where the.
Yeah.
The water plays
Yeah.
down towards.
They have a good. And then there's.
Singles place in there.
Scholarship day or something.
Corner. Complex down there now.
Yeah.
It's down.
And there's like a
So
free
my
day in
lot,
New Hampshire, like it's
we had
free
to
to
have
apply.
wetland surveys. It wasn't.
Like all of that, we just held off and we just.
You know, although I do have a spring,
Mhm.
very small spring around my house, and then down. It's a little like somebody else size of a couple of these tables.
Oh, yeah. I expected,
It runs down there and then.
So that.
one,
was-
two,
There's like all these little things that.
five, six.
You guys are there.
I'll call upon you.
Right.
You're number 7. I'll need you
That was
to.
4 years.
For these.
Thank you for coming.
It's a little, oh yeah, frost.
Yeah, but it's to the.
I'm working on it. I don't think I'll match my previous record of 20 minutes, but. All right, where's the young lady who's gonna,
We are recording.
Oh, we are.
well, it is 8:30. I don't think anybody else is coming.
So everybody knows, great program.
This is the planning board meeting of July 9, right?
Yeah.
Planning board meeting July 9. We will begin with roll call. Margaret,
Alternate.
Michael Pell number.
Bill Spence, member.
Catherine Brennan member.
Morgan Dean member.
John Racine member.
Dan Bancroft ex officio member.
And since we have 6 members, I will call upon Margaret to be seated. So now we have 7 voters around the table, and we may begin by examining first item on the agenda, which is the minutes of the meeting of June 11. That everyone would have a look at the meeting minutes of June 11 and see if there are any amendments. Hello, John. Meeting is underway. We are reading the minutes. You have a copy of minutes?
They're under your agenda.
So for the sake of the roll call, you are,
John Panatello.
and you are,
Alternate.
you're an alternate. So I seated Margaret. We have 7. You are our alternate. Are there any amendments? Okay, I had 3 that were present here in red.
Guys, so vote for already incorporated.
I usually make mention of it so that it's part of the record that there are 3, 4 amendments from the first draft. Is there a motion?
We accept the meeting minutes of June 11th, 2026 as amended.
I will second them.
All in favor? Any dissent? Passed. Well, we all have been through, and we will have next week, isn't it? We will have a training session on July 16th with regard to working group meetings in compliance with RSA 91A. And just as a further explanation, that the information that is provided is the date, time, location by means of the subcommittee public notice form of any group that meets, whether it's a working group or this group or any other group. The committees provide the name of the meeting chair, the secretary, and the person posting the approved minutes of the meeting, and any cancellation notices, schedule changes, notices, or other updates.
Also, how long do we get
Which meeting? Oh, the training meeting?
2 hours. 2 hours
that? Okay.
here.
Okay, then.
On Zoom.
Then minutes are posted by means of a subcommittee minute form. So that is our working group schedule and our policy. Any comments?
It's 8:30, right?
Correct.
8:30 is when our training session begins at 8:30. Okay, and you are, young lady,
Anna Sandler, present,
alternate.
alternate.
Hello, Anna. Thank you.
Morning.
So the meeting is underway. We've just reviewed the working group meeting rules. And now let's talk about the working group reports. Landscaping.
We met 2 weeks ago, did a version, and then we're gonna meet today after this meeting at 11, I think. This is posted.
Okay,
We're gonna go over what we discussed 2 weeks ago.
can you give us the highlights?
Well, it really, we had a conversation about finding a balance between the needs of the town versus developers, and how do you really find that balance? And I think we're coming out with some really good suggestions. We're going through and trying to make things quantifiable, like, not, and not,
clear standards.
Yeah.
And I know the SE group is on the agenda for later on. But we are covering areas, in their recommendations, like, strengthening vegetative buffers, improving the shed protections. Low impact development like rain gardens, bioswales, vegetative swales, reducing runoff, into water bodies, protecting aquatic habitats. Urban lot landscaping, food preservation, things like that. So,
Okay, are these items, my question is, are they measurable?
yes, that's what we want. Subjective regulations lead to different outcomes every time. So we want them as clear as possible, allowing the planning board to relax the rule and regulation. If X, Y, and Z are met. We don't want gray areas, we want black and white, with the allowance of the board to say, well, actually, no, this won't work here, so you don't have to, you don't have to comply with the restrictiveness of it.
So we put like links so that people can see, or developers and citizens can see where are we referring to, or look at, making sure that the plants are zone alpine appropriate, going to links of like the New Hampshire websites as far as what is acceptable in the area. John,
Yes, Dan?
How do you define low impact? That seems rather subjective, to
So
be honest with you.
low impact is like rain gardens, bioswales, not hard infrastructure rather than a natural infrastructure for water retention and things like that. Reduced driveways.
Is it defined within? Is low impact as a term defined within? the documents?
I don't
I don't
think it
think we
is, no.
defined it, but we can definitely add it.
It will need to be.
Yeah,
because
does anybody,
it's By definition. Objective.
that's another question that's come up over and over again, which is the definition of terms. Yes, Mike?
What? One of the last things you just said is reducing. Or minimizing driveways. That's question number one. And then question number two is. One of the things that happened when they built. The 7 buildings around us. Is the state required bio ponds.
Mhm.
We're well aware of my friend over there. Not happy, but whatever. What is what it is, as they say. Are you guys doing anything with regard to us having rules regarding that, which are more restrictive or less, I don't, what you get to less restrictive, but more restrictive than the state bio ponds?
We have not discussed bioponds, but we certainly can today, absolutely.
I won't be there, so.
Well, I mean, we'll,
James
yeah.
will be happy to tell you all
Yeah.
about it.
Well, plus also too, remember, we're gonna come back again, you had that draft, and we'll come back again and we'll have discussion. So if there's things that we, forgot
Work
that
in
you're
progress,
interested
for
in.
sure. No, I
Okay.
just, it is
good
an
point.
interesting concept.
Good point.
Okay, everything that you've done so far is posted.
Yeah,
We just had that one meeting.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
was
and you-
posted. This will be our second
As they say in
posted
the
meeting.
vernacular, you know where to find them.
Just a comment with respect to driveways, there are often times on lots. That are available for building, if you will, there are a few up in the Cascade Ridge area where. You have to have a long, big driveway because of the available building location. So. It's wonderful to say we want to minimize driveways, but there's also a reality here, which is that people will have to have access to their lots.
More so
Was it
curb
The
cuts,
ability to build.
yeah, because this isn't for single family, this is just for commercial development and,
which, yes, and that's not
Okay.
something that we're talking about for the landscaping, that's just overall, that was just an example of the low impact. Development is reducing the curb cuts, so reducing the amount of entrances off of roads and things like that, so allowing shared driveways, for instance, is one example.
But all of your landscaping rules, are they going to apply equally to homeowners building places or not?
No.
Hmm.
This is for the site plan regulations.
Okay,
Wait a minute.
So that seems odd to me.
Me too.
We don't have,
True, we do.
If we want to change
Yeah.
it in the zoning ordinance, then we would have to throw that up for a town vote.
yeah. This is just for
Exactly.
site plan
Well, we
regulation.
It should.
Well, I think maybe then that's a great idea to discuss, like, once we feel like we've got the site plan regulations, if there's pieces of it that as a board, we're like, okay, you know what, that's an interesting concept. Let's pull that out maybe and discuss it for an ordinance. That is absolutely something we can get done, I would think, this year. So, yeah,
Okay, as
I
a
think
group,
once we kind of get consensus as a group of what we think the site plan, I don't know, Liz, if you think that's a,
but that's part of the
Yeah.
reason for
Yeah, pieces.
discussing it now in front of the board. In that, the work that's been done, in my view, looks comprehensive and it is a definite step forward toward being much more accurate in our assessment. That is, when there's a plan before us, when there's an application before the board, it's our job to compare it and comply with and uphold the ordinances and the site plan review regulations. That's our job. If it's in the ordinance, it's more applicable. That is, it's more rigorous. And it can be defended. And in that regard, I think, as this progresses, I think it would be a good idea. That's my opinion. I want to hear what other people have to say. But it's my opinion that the weakness of the ordinance, I think is evident and that it needs to be upgraded. Anybody else?
Not only upgraded. Perhaps not only upgraded, but the other word might be clarified.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I'll
I mean, we have done some things that we thought we had done a certain way, and then all of a sudden, because we weren't as clear and definitive as we should have been or might have been.
Yeah.
We were unhappy after the fact.
Okay, I'll add another comment, and that is our master plan is 4 years old. And that as I review or read what's in the master plan, it says, vague and altruistic. That is, we tell a nice story, but well, the RSAs are clear. The RSAs say that the defining governing document, the starting point of all of the ability of towns to govern themselves starts with the master plan. And then the master plan is vague and inaccurate. Okay, look, that's fine. We leave all of the storytelling there, no problem with that. But when it comes to what are we going to do about this application that's in front of us, we need more rigorous references. So I think that whatever is good for the ordinance is also good for the master plan.
So my question is, if we put the landscaping regs in the zoning ordinance, if we pull some pieces, that tends to lead more to like an HOA. And do you guys have the personnel to enforce violations of landscaping regs? If we are restrictive for all of Waterville, do you have the time? Do you have people to do it? To enforce things? If someone's shrub dies in their front yard and they have a really long driveway, nobody sees it, does it really matter if the neighbor, calls and complains about, hey, this, there's shrubs in their front yard, you can't really see it from the road. So just.
I think that's a good
recommend being
word.
careful of what.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
matter that goes before the select board in many cases.
Yeah.
And in other situations, it's simply a matter of code enforcement.
Well,
But the town functions,
Yeah.
the town functions on complaint.
Mhm.
And then if there is a complaint, I would expect code enforcement to look into it.
you could also have the concern of conflict with the HOAs, so, because there are HOAs in Waterville Valley
Oh,
already,
lots of
so
them.
you'd have to be complimentary to what they have, and then it would have to be clarified as to, do you take this to the select board, or do you take this to the HOA, or do you have to take it to both entities? Whatever's more restrictive, so if the town is more
That's ju-
restrictive, it doesn't matter what the HOAs say. You're still gonna go, but technically, if the HOA is more restrictive, it matters for the people paying those HOA dues, they have to follow that. I mean, it could create a lot of headaches for homeowners, was my point. So if we were to do it, I would not be overly restrictive in it, I guess is what I was getting at, because you don't want to aggravate our taxpayer base. To be
What-
very blatant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, why don't we like get through the site plans and let's, as a group, feel good about that, and then we
Yeah.
can discuss. If there's
What might
pieces
be
of it,
pertinent.
if there's something that's appropriate or not, I don't know if now,
I
yeah.
think the matter, the discussion about pieces is appropriate in that much of what we're doing is aimed at commercial development, not aimed at the homeowner. But the point that I was trying to make is that all of this starts with the master plan.
Mhm.
And if the master plan is vague and ambiguous, it's not serving its function. We're not doing the job correctly.
Right.
And then we move on to the ordinance. The ordinance applies to everybody and everything.
Going forward, though, remember, people are grandfathered in too, so,
Yeah.
I
All these complications exist. But if we want to make things better than what they are now, then some modification to the ordinance, I think, would be appropriate in each of these circumstances where we're doing our best to find our way through the maze, through the cobwebs of trying to administer a town. Any other comments on landscaping?
I also would like to suggest that everyone take a look at what we've got. There's 10 pages,
Yeah,
quite a bit of information. But take a look. If you have some input, corrections, please let us know so we can work together on this and then bring it
send them
forward.
to Liz, because then she can
Yes.
bring them to our meetings, if you can attend.
And then, public comment and feedback, we also have, I have to work into the next version of it, so.
John, are those on the website? The 10 pages?
No, they were
Yes.
sent, I don't know, Liz,
It's a draft right now.
it's the draft now, but you guys did have was sent, what, last month before we, which
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something that,
John, I will
It's
give you a
changed,
copy
but
of this today before you leave.
Right.
no, the point is that it should be posted publicly, that anybody anywhere who wants to see what has been going on in this working group should be able to go to the website and find it.
well, the minutes are, well, I know the minutes were submitted.
Right. But the document itself,
And we'll get it on.
Liz, is it there?
No, the landscaping committee just says 2026, and when you click on that, there's nothing.
Okay, so I will send it in. Have it.
The document needs to be there. That's what I was reading at the beginning of the meeting, and how are we complying with the law?
Well, we
I just
can-
want to know what-
Go ahead.
When you say commercial. How does that then apply to a 15, 18, 20 unit residential condo itself, new condo?
Well, it would be whatever's coming before for our site plan regulations, so the site plan review, anything coming before the planning board as a site plan, so if somebody is a single family,
I
yeah,
understand.
it doesn't apply. So yes,
The question is. These landscaping things you said are being done for commercial.
Which would include
site,
both-
their site plan
So that
regulations.
would include multifamily units.
Yes, the four, I believe.
Okay,
Multi-buildings, is it 5?
Isn't it
Units or
three?
more, is it 3?
I think it's 3 or more.
Three or more.
So for any development of 3 or more dwellings.
okay.
Any other comment?
And you're welcome to stay right after this meeting. We got one going on. Awesome.
Of course, it's awesome. No, you're in the landscape, you're dealing with things,
Power bars.
with measurements such as the height of these plantings.
So
Yeah.
it's a percentage of what it's intended to screen as of now in the version, that's what it, so it's a percentage, so that's something that's measurable. something that's, at time of planting, I think right now it's at 80 or, yeah, well,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it depends.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's
That's all,
something that's like measurable. People can say, okay.
exactly. They wanted to be able to deal with the problem such as the one that exists.
Yes.
Which is the height of the plant. What is it supposed to do? It's supposed to screen parked cars. Does it do it? Our complaint is, no, it didn't do it, and we weren't specific enough so that we'd be able to enforce it. So you're saying about 80% of what was,
That's, I think, the percentage we have in
What
now. I
was
mean, obviously,
required.
this is a draft, so things that could change,
right,
shift.
so that
and
when
as we
plants
discuss it,
grow,
and then they're gonna cut, then it'll be 100%. I think we said three, growing cycles or something to get to
Mhm.
100%, 2 or 3 something.
okay, the point is, you're dealing with it.
Yes.
Any other comments? Can we now ask for the architectural group? Tell us what's cooking over there.
Nothing as of right now. I've been focused on this and then I haven't had a chance to work on architectural regs, so. I will get the original draft out again for review and, we'll have a meeting at some point. Scheduling wise, I will chat with these guys after to see when we can schedule it.
When's your next meeting?
We don't have it scheduled yet.
We're gonna get that scheduled today for our next meeting and, we have a solid, whatever, 10-12 page working document that we've been working on. Yes, all of the meeting minutes have been posted thus far on what we have met about.
Okay. Is the
Same
document,
thing, getting rid of subjectivity, having all of the clarifying, that is, for all development. It's not just specific to commercial and ours, so it is all development. There's a couple of points we need to still go back to related to actual like sizing shapes of buildings and structures. But we've already addressed colors of buildings, blending, all based on criteria that can actually be measurable. And we've gone through, working to look at the landscape reg to complement that within here, so there's nothing conflicting between the two site regulations. And we have addressed, the general, as much as can be, mimicry of the buildings within the valley, given the many different architectural types that already exist. And obviously it is meant to encourage development, just in the development that is beneficial for water bills, so not to discourage development within the town.
I have a question for you guys. So
Yeah.
it's you two and Liz.
Correct.
So all three of you were not here when we did the affordable housing study. So I'm wondering if you guys have any of that information.
I don't, and I would love it.
Yeah, I have it here in my mega binder.
Okay.
And I can make copies for you because it does talk about removing regulations rather than putting regulations in. So that's like,
Well, and I think especially with what could be changing with the ordinance at state level, that we
Yeah.
need to be cognizant of that. Because I think tiny homes are very much the solution by the state for the affordable housing. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would love if we could get a copy of that,
if I
Morgan.
can find it in my email too, because that might be easier.
Yeah. That would be great. Thank you.
mumbling over here?
I'm mumbling and saying that unfortunately. I am not convinced that. The state regulations always. And I see this. Here and I see this in the schools. Don't always fit the. Way Waterville works, what Waterville stands for. I see that
Referring
happen.
to tiny homes.
Typically referring to tiny homes, and other things that. Don't affect what I do over in school.
Mhm. No, I understand what you mean. The question is, will we do anything about it? And it's, what we can do about it is very limited.
Yes, unfortunately, even if we. My understanding. Is that. Even if we should vote something which is contrary. To an RSA. somebody could come along and just take us to court and say, I want to do it anyway,
Mhm.
and we're gonna lose.
Correct.
The simplistic answer, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's accurate.
All right, same question applies that the work that you've done so far, is it posted?
I cannot find it. There's not an architectural committee link.
Are going back to the first version. And doing kind of what we did with the landscaping. Right, so we're gonna start from draft one, that I drafted.
We did
With the
post the
ideas.
meeting minutes from that meeting, though, I thought.
So the meetings themselves were
Performance
posted
announced.
on the website publicly. So we are starting from baseline.
Well, I
Again,
thought the last meeting you did here, we had given the notice that was required prior to that meeting,
yes.
right?
Yep.
Okay,
But we're still gonna start from baseline because, it was posted, I couldn't tell it. So
got it.
we're starting
Okay.
from version one.
Okay, understood.
So what is required of us? Like, what's happening is that the notices are being posted, the minutes are being posted. But what I want now with regard to complying exactly with the provisions of the law is to post the work product. Whatever you guys are talking about, whatever documents you've started to draft, it's gotta go on the website. No questions asked, has to be there for anybody who wants to find it.
Mr. Chair, question. And this might be for Dan or manager in regards to the website. It's not a good website. And we were told that it was gonna be upgraded a few years ago, and I'm just wondering if you have any information on that?
We were supposed to upgrade it last year and we ran into some cost issues and such. Because the software that's currently running the whole thing, the upgrade to the next version, they wanted, 3 arms, 2 legs and a couple of cows. To do that, and Steve was investigating an alternative software package, and that just got derailed by the whole Mark Time thing, and Mark kind of stays taking over his name.
So, but so the search bar is key. Whatever you're looking for, the search bar on the top right hand corner. I'm working in 8 different towns and I actually like yours the best. And especially,
That's not good for the other eight.
that's my point. That is my point, is that
Wow.
there's a lot of town websites that are difficult to work with internally and more difficult to navigate. It does take a little bit getting used to use, but in working in different municipalities, I forget the website software company, but it is the easiest to use both internally and easiest to navigate. And the search bar is key.
I have a terrible comment, and I understand what you're saying, and. Well, and Dan, I apologize in advance. The fact that we are the best of the worst is.
I haven't seen any.
You know what
software
you know what I'm
that's
saying?
It's not a compliment, I
It is-
understand.
It is not a compliment, and. I will say it, even though this is not the appropriate place. It is not fair to our stakeholders to have something that is that difficult to work with. And you're a smart guy. It's hard to work with.
Yes, no, we understand that. We also recognize it's an issue for the town. It's
I just don't know what. the
certainly
solution
on,
is.
Ed's list of things that need to be addressed.
And a lot of the newer
Sorry, Ed.
software for websites, uses Google Docs.
It does.
Yeah.
So your calendar, then you also have to have a Google account in order to upload all of your minutes. And so essentially it's just links to your Google account. So like, when you select the minutes, it brings you directly to Google. But, and then at that point, it's like, okay, so I would just post the Google account as a website. And then you have to buy more storage and whatnot. So there's additional costs with newer software.
Yeah, we don't want that kind of dependence.
The costs are staggering. Yeah.
Just, if you're looking to switch, just make sure the homework's done.
Is
No.
need help? Well, that I won't help.
I think everybody is on that list.
That's it, Margaret, I can depend on you for that, yeah. Now, what did the budget cut affect? Did it impact our ability to upgrade our website?
I do not have. The number in my. I'm sorry.
But somewhere, somehow. We need to address this matter, and it's not,
Yes,
it's
we
not planning board
understand
function,
that.
but the point is that we all use it.
Yeah.
And I continue to make this reference to say that. We've got to satisfy, compliance with 91. And to do it, we have to post things to the website to be completely transparent and public. The website has to work. Anybody who wants to find out what,
Does work, and it is there, and if you go to the search bar, you'll find it, so
Okay.
we're compliant with 91A.
okay,
Yeah.
good, that's my
It's
my
getting-
primary concern. And the fact that the website is clumsy, well, we'll fix it.
It's clumsy and outdated,
Yeah.
it's with you. I mean,
Well,
I did
okay,
the same
we
thing
all-
myself.
Aware of that. Yes, Margaret.
Just a point of information. When I was a select person, we used to get a packet about that thick. Every time we had a meeting. We don't put all that stuff on the website.
I haven't been getting a packet about.
Planning board packet? So,
You're saying selected.
Yeah.
so. For planning and zoning, at least planning board and zoning boards, you just have the posting of the agenda and the minutes.
Required.
Yeah,
Right.
So all the work product doesn't.
no, it just has to be publicly available at that point.
But publicly available needs to be something that's functional and easy to do. That's my point. That anybody who wants to find these documents should be able to do it. Okay, put it into the search bar, up it comes. That's the point that,
Yeah,
I'm trying to reach.
Search function on the town website is actually quite effective. I agree with Liz on that. That's quite effective.
yes, I agree. That's the only part of it that I use.
Oh, but anybody could come into town and ask, say, hey, you know what, I'd like to see a draft of the landscaping thing. and
Yes,
get printed
Yeah.
out. So it's good to look.
yeah, when we say public, it really means public, anybody, anywhere,
available.
okay?
That's architecture.
Now, with respect to parking, we haven't met. And one of the reasons is that Alan travels. Right now he's on safari in Kenya. And I've been traveling. But I also, there are many interest groups that are involved in, that have an interest in parking and parking regulations. And there's a good deal of discussion that's going on among others, such as the select board, town management, Tyrell. And that it's going to take time to sort this out. There are many people who have many interests. So yes, the parking group will meet when Alan returns. And when I stop going to the beach. And we'll probably start that process at toward the end of July. It's complicated. And there are many interests that will need to be satisfied. So that's where we are I've done a good deal of reading about what other towns have with regard to their parking regulations. And there's some, very interesting ideas that have come up. And one of them is that many towns have decided to apply what might be called an overlay for all of the commercial area, and in our case, the C1 district, which is what's our parking policy for this entire area? And can it be coordinated? Can it be say more encompassing than what we have at the moment? Can it satisfy all of the needs? Because there's going to be a great deal of change that's going to take place. It's not just what has occurred or the fact that an adventure zone is being constructed. There are many other things that are going to be, that are planned there. So that's an area that's of interest. So we'll have more to say about that as time progresses. Any comments?
Go to the fireworks on Saturday night.
No, I wasn't here.
It was very interesting. Walked over. And basically. The parking all the way up to the dirt area. In front of this old Stapler Park. That, I call that a dirt parking lot, is that? But all that entire parking area. Was totally filled.
Yeah.
Just so this to put in perspective. And I recognize that's one night, whatever, but it was interesting to walk through.
I understand. Well, that's,
I'm just blaming you.
of course. That's the reason I sit in this chair. Yes. One of the pillars of parking planning is planning for maximum use.
Right.
And that creates a number of significant issues. None of this is going to go away easily. And the more I read about parking, the more I understand how difficult it is to sort it all out. But it's an ongoing, it'll be done. So that's the parking report, as minimal as it is. The fact that there are so many interests, that it's not so much the case with, say, landscaping. But this one going to attract a lot of attention. Moving on. The CIP committee report. I wish Rob were here, but I'm going to turn to Morgan and say, okay, the two of you are, yes, this is an area where a good deal of progress has been made, and I wish to compliment you on how well this has been worked out so far. That is, having been on the CIP and having known how it was, I'd say it's significantly better now, and it's there's a good deal more public information available. That is, I know that this is on the website. So anybody who wants to know what is going on in the CIP committee can find it. All right, I'll be quiet.
Morgan, are we starting with the CRF recap of the draft?
Yeah, we can do CRF.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so we met with the trustees of the trust fund as well, and we got the balances from there.
Everybody.
yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So we've had a lot of discussion on like, PRFs in the past, and pre-COVID, there was a presentation at the end of town meeting from Amy Solnier about how this is how she envisioned the town moving forward, and people seem very receptive to it, so we've continued to move in that direction since then. But like, we went through at our last meeting and gave everything a priority. And so we still have some questions that are outstanding, but these are the current balances as of 6/8.
Could you start by explaining what a CRF is?
Capital Reserve Fund, so we put money away for a specific purpose so that it can be used in the future without requesting funds or bonding. Or a combination of.
How do you come up with the numbers for putting away money for like the cemetery?
Great question.
How do you do that?
So the cemetery is a great example. So we received a request from the Department of Public Works about $30,000 to fund a like a computer program to manage it, because right now it is a very old map that's been taped multiple times. And they just keep track by hand
We've
written.
got an Excel spreadsheet.
You know, she's got an Excel spreadsheet. She's
Which
moving,
is
she's moving up.
great.
But it's 30, it was 30,000 initially, and I think 5 or 7,000 a year, and we, as the CIP, discussed it. And we do think there are bigger problems with the cemetery that need to be fixed first. The money could be better used to fix drainage, or the massive amount of water that flows through there every time there's a storm. Things are being shifted and whatever, so we have adjusted that. And we decided that, like, well, we didn't decide, we had discussions. And this is what we think, because eventually, this is all our recommendations, nothing is set in stone. We bring it back to you guys for discussion, and then it goes on to the select board for final approval, and they can adjust, remove, add as needed.
So the CIP is a subcommittee of the planning board. And that the CIP committee goes through all of this data and makes
Sorry,
recommendations.
I believe it's speaking of the cemetery, it's spring has sprung at the cemetery.
There you go.
Yeah, sinkhole stuff.
Oh, dear.
Actually, for those.
There you go, so that's one of the reasons, so Catherine happens to live near there, and she walks through there on the regular, and has
I've
seen
got
like
notes every
headstones
day.
have shifted,
I have-
and there are new streams coming through and
Yeah.
a new spring,
I've
so.
written the time, the date, where the mud is, whose headstone. I don't know these people, but what, you know, like they're
They're shifting.
thinking and they're constantly underwater. And I've got it since the beginning of June. So every couple times a week, it's.
Yeah.
Beautiful area.
Yes, and it really
There's
should
too
be,
much
and it
water.
has been a
It's
beautiful
just-
area, it's just too much
not-
water.
It's not a good spot for.
So we thought, you know, in our infinite wisdom in CIP, that spending $30,000 for a program rather it would be better spent as maybe 25 grand with a high priority to fix what's already there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
In other words, a drainage program.
Right,
Yeah.
and keeping in mind, it's gonna be way more than 25,000 because you're gonna need to put drain it, you know, but again, we know it's out there, we know it's a problem. Let's start
Setting
putting
money aside.
money
yeah.
aside money. So.
So that's the whole idea of
We
the,
don't have to, we owe it, it's our responsibility to maintain the cemetery that's there. We don't have to expand it, but we have to maintain what's there. And it is just, there's water everywhere. It's awful.
I have a philosophical difference of opinion,
Go for it.
right? I have never been a person that loves kicking the can down the road. It's kind of been one that says, see a problem, fix the problem.
Right, reactionary, not proactive.
Well, I don't mind being proactive, but what we're seeing here is there is a significant problem, and I'm just picking on the cemetery, it applies to other things as well. There is a significant problem, and what we're saying is, well, let's put money aside, and when we get enough money put aside, maybe we'll fix the problem.
That's not exactly what we're saying.
no,
So
Mike,
because
That's what it
Mike,
sounded like.
Okay,
understand
I
the point.
disagree.
One of the things we're dealing with is we have, you know, anticipatory problems. So we're trying to anticipate things and put money aside in various categories so that when these problems arrive, we have a means of addressing them. Unfortunately, we're playing catch up.
I understand.
So we have current problems that obviously is, as you can see by Ed just running out, that are acute. And we need to address, you know, in the immediate future. We have a mix of both of those situations across the county. And the
shouldn't be here.
The- challenge we have in the community is that if we end up going to town meeting and saying, putting in line items for a lot of money for all of these things, I need 50 for this, 60 for that, 80 for this, 90 for that, it adds up to a lot, and it adds to our tax rate a lot.
Yes.
If
Hold
we
on.
put a
Catherine.
little bit of money aside and build those reserves up, that allows us. to
And I fully understand the philosophy.
Yeah,
Mike,
I'm like, okay, so but here's the thing. So to your point, like, let's move forward, right? Like, let's get this fixed. So the first step is, in my understanding, is gonna be okay, we're probably gonna need to get an engineer out there and we're gonna need bids and we're gonna, so that's why it's like, it's not a $300,000 request or half, whatever it is that it's gonna ultimately the project be. Because that, to Dan's point, is a big chunk of change that's gonna be a big, so let's start by, okay, you know what, maybe 25 is too low. I don't know. We'll talk about it with the select board, but start putting that money aside now because that's the first step is engineering and that's not gonna be, and it's out there. So that's where, but again, I see what you're saying. Like you see a problem, let's put the money, but it's a balance, right? It's a balance between what the town and the taxpayers are and the reality of how a project flows. So let's start to, am I making sense? Like, let's put money aside for the first steps because.
This is a CIP meeting. We're talking about capital reserve funds. This is the whole concept behind what the CIP does and what a capital reserve is.
So,
We don't need to beat this to death now. We just need to say that as far as the capital reserve is concerned, it's there. We've started it. We're recognizing a problem. And there was something's going to be done about it, but until the money is in the bank, nothing's going to be done.
And this is this is gonna be at least 3 drafts. This is the
Yeah.
first of like at least 3. So this is gonna have a whole iteration about
so
before it goes to the
understand.
select board.
But it's so
I
much
see what you're
better than what used to be the town's procedure for CIP, capital improvement programs. It's so much better than what it used to be. That is, the whole story behind everything that we're doing is we're not a little town at the end of the road anymore.
But it's also giving people the opportunity earlier, before the budget launched, to sit down and say, oh gee, I didn't realize that, Margaret. The caskets are gonna be underwater for 3 months out of the year because of the drainage. I can commiserate with that instead of on March, we need $300,000 for drainage.
Yeah, which is the way that it used to be. And we're trying to also bring all of these problems to the surface now. So that, we post this on the website, we talk about it at these meetings. Anybody who has something to say about it or is really concerned about it, knows about it before the budget meeting drops the guillotine in March.
In the public hearing, we're gonna have a.
Dan.
public hearing.
No, I believe the CIP committee is scheduled to meet with the select board at some time in the reasonably near future.
as well as the
We
public
discussed
on
the-
2 different times.
Well, when we're
That
done
was
with our.
part of
public-
the.
Right,
schedule
but
that
the
was
first
laid out,
go round
yeah.
is with the planning board, and then the planning board says to the select board, these are the items that the planning board finds significant. And then,
Yeah, but in the timeline Rob provided,
That's
there
right.
was also a
in July.
note to meet with, so it
Select board in
was.
July,
Select board in July, and then wasn't it
the first meeting. with-
public meeting following that, right?
Yeah, and I think
Because
we were
there
gonna
were 2
revisit
different
the
public
timetable.
meetings on the timeline. Hold on.
That's-
Yeah, and Rob is unexpectedly
Yeah.
away for 2 weeks, so that's part of the hiccup. Catherine and I met without him, but.
Yeah, so July,
Yeah.
first review with planning board, first review with select board, then a 3rd meeting with department heads in September.
I think
Coordinate
that,
draft, yeah, then public hearing,
But
so is there a
that's-
shift in that timeline?
we're gonna have to
Regardless
discuss it,
of, like,
but it
Rob,
needs to be
yeah.
moved up because based on what I'm hearing from select board members and from town managers, they would like to have their information in the fall,
Yeah.
because that's when they're really starting
Okay.
their process. So, that I
So
think
you
is
want
gonna,
to do
it's
more
gonna
of
be
like the
moved up,
public
so.
hearing in August? Okay.
Depending on how we feel here, we've talked about maybe trying to schedule the public hearing.
Mhm.
Again, that would be another draft, and then we'd come back to the planning board before, I mean,
I mean, absolutely.
we discussing this, right?
we can go, yeah.
Yeah,
we
so-
can go
Yeah,
through
so
and buy
I
it.
guess,
Yeah, well, should we go line by line or?
I have a question on the next line item,
Okay,
so.
yeah, so do.
So the municipal facilities, Sierra,
Mhm.
it's a new request of 500,000, but then there's also municipal facility and property. Already established of 101.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What is the differences and how can we make that better known so the public understands the differences? Cause.
Yeah.
Off the bat, I would say those look the same to me.
Yeah, and if you look to the right, we've got our comments there. So.
And I saw that it was like the CRF transfer station was 400,000
so-
of that. I wasn't sure what the other 100K was and if that would
Okay.
overlap with what's already established.
So we received requests from from Megan, basically, of different CRFs and things that she had wanted, other things. So it was 500,000. Knowing, and that's a big chunk of change, right? And it seems very it's not as specific perhaps as other CRFs. So knowing that the Bethlehem transfer station or the Bethlehem dump is closing, knowing that we've got this project potentially
Yep.
coming down the pipe, we said, again, this is discussion, our first, and this was, all these notes too were with Rob as well, so but we talked about maybe we are gonna need $300,000 or $400,000 for this new project coming out here. So maybe, as far as a total dollar amount, that stays and that we change that title. That's why we originally said we're not recommending this.
Right.
So that's what our comments are, the high, medium, and low.
That's what the
That's a-
no means.
Yeah, that's what the no means, but let's not forget what we have these other big projects that aren't being addressed here that are gonna need to be addressed next year. So again, it was an idea
Yep.
that we wanted to discuss. Megan had an idea that the solid waste truck, the existing CRF for that, since we would be moving away from that could be renamed to solid waste disposal, which could go
And then
into
apply to
that
that.
project. But that is something that has to be approved at the town
No,
meeting.
You can't
do
You
that.
can't just
It has to be
correctly
approved at the,
rename things.
yes, at the town meeting, it has to be approved.
Yeah, it
So
has to be
you
approved.
approve
We've
Town meeting. We
Discuss with
cannot do
Steve
that.
and Ed, this
That's
is
the
definitely a
procedure.
possibility.
Yeah. So, but again, the town has to approve a name change and
Yeah.
shifting of that fund.
Because, the
So,
scope changes.
Instead of just nixing it entirely, knowing that a lot of the reactionary base from the town this last town meeting was the fact that there had not been planning to offset these absorbent costs that had hit us. Is it worth integrating the costs that we know are going to happen because of Bethlehem capping their dump into existing categories and then just explaining why those additional costs are being requested?
yes and no,
Okay.
like, yes,
And that's literally just from my understanding.
Yes,
basis.
I
It's
see
not
what you're
like
saying.
Scrutinizing it, just me understanding it better.
yes. So again, and maybe Morgan, you can jump in. So yes, so, we're, as a town, we're gonna need to spend the money to build this thing, right?
Right.
So, that's why we kept, one of the reasons why we kept the dollar amount in there. And so an idea was just, as a group, do we want to say, let's have, whatever the number is going to be, 300,000 or 400,000 for a, I don't know, transfer station project, or however we want to title it. That was like a discussion that we
Yeah.
wanted to bring.
And there's no real answer to it because there's, the select board is working on it and there's a municipal solid waste committee.
Sure.
So there's a lot
There's a
being
lot of
discussed, so
input.
we don't really know, right? There's an RFI out.
There
Yeah.
is, and
So-
we don't have responses on that back yet.
Yeah,
That's my
but we want to
understanding.
make sure that it's out there, that it's not
Well, and
something,
that
and
was-
that,
yeah.
and, again, but 200,000, 400,000, different dollar amounts have been thrown out, whatever that's gonna be, but like, it's gonna be there.
But maybe
so-
make it its own thing,
Yeah.
so the public can know that's
Specifically
exactly what it, right, because I
Justify
know a
the
lot,
number.
Yes.
right, a lot of the feedback that came out of town meeting was. Well, wait, this line item seems the same as this line item, and we don't understand where this applies, and in fairness, like, it was, the town explained it and tried to further explain it by saying, this is what goes here, and this goes here, and this goes here. But it's not on paper, and for anyone who's visual, it was definitely not resonating, so I think there could be benefit in being very specific as to the categories.
Yeah, I literally wrote down, be specific.
Yes, I
Yes.
saw that.
Okay, well, and being specific, RFI means,
Request for information.
Request for
so you're sending out to,
To start with, yeah, it turns out we can't just say we need X dollars, I mean. We
You're
really
supposed to
gotta
get
have
2
a,
quotes or 3.
we have to have a design and a plan
Yeah.
for what we're building
Right.
and.
Yep.
we have proposals.
before we ever get to a proposal stage. We don't have a building design yet. They need some sort of a building over the top of the compactors and electricity and all kinds of different things going on out there. And you can't just say, here, Mr. Contractor,
Yeah.
How much?
how much is it gonna cost for you to build something out there?
So
We
you're
can't
doing an
even tell them
RFI,
directly exactly what we need to build. I believe the RFI was to attract contractor to help. So we can end up with a design and stuff.
To point us in the direction of a design.
And then we'll
Get a better
understand more.
number.
and then you'll do an
That's
RFI.
that's my understanding of what's going on, yeah. Okay, moving on.
I kind of lost track of it, because I fortunately got dragged into something. Federally, it doesn't matter. My understanding is that there was a movement going forward to replace the Bethlehem landfill with a new landfill up in that area.
I mean, I haven't
There's-
heard that.
No.
Either
There
way.
is some
Liz can-
advocacy to do it, but there's also a lot of
What,
pushback on it as well, so, yeah.
there's this going on.
Exactly.
And
that's
I
the
kind of
years
thought
down
this
the
going on.
Liz
when I-
has your answer.
Currently, there's nothing coming into that.
It's not that.
Current.
Hampton, or Carroll,
Carroll County,
that will not be happening.
so it's not gonna.
Not Carroll County, Carroll, the town.
Carroll, the
Carroll,
town,
the
the mountain, yeah, will not be going there either.
Yep.
They actually held a special meeting, and they have changed their zoning ordinance to no
Copy.
longer allow it. And if they do allow one, it will be run by the town.
Run by the town, for the town.
If they ever wanted to. They're not saying they want to, but if
I
they
just
left
lost
that
track
door
because
open.
of other crap I got involved with.
And it's my understanding, because I mean, we were just up in that area and we see all the protest signs already up against building anything up north. But it's my understanding also that forget exactly where the landfill is in surrounding Concord area, but they are at max capacity. So they're talking about
Rochester?
shipping down to Rochester for us
It's very
and the
expensive.
surrounding towns, correct? Which is gonna be very costly. Yeah,
We're going across the river into
and
Vermont.
Dan, I'm sure you're, yeah,
I just,
you probably know the exacts on that. That's
I
just
don't
my
know all
understanding.
of the exacts. We have the municipal solid waste committee and they're
Okay.
working those options, if you will, to even figure out what's possible.
But I definitely like the idea
Possibilities
of being ahead of it. To like Morgan's point and what we were focusing on, I like the idea of being ahead of it versus waiting until the shoe drops.
The reality is we are going to have to do something.
Yeah.
Because that landfill is closed.
Yep.
And
it's
it's,
still closing in April.
that's our understanding, April 27th.
Yeah.
It's still there.
Okay, I just got sidetracked because I got dragged into something.
Okay,
else.
Catherine.
So then, just to circle back then, and I'm asking the question, so are we comfortable then with renaming municipal, this new request for municipal, renaming it to something referencing this project over here? Are we comfortable with leaving the dollar amount, lowering the dollar amount?
Right,
Like,
holding it into the
yeah,
solid waste
but-
truck.
I mean,
Yeah, those two things, my opinion is to probably lower it to 300,000. I mean, and again, it's gonna, by the time it gets to the select board, they're gonna have more information, it's gonna change.
right,
But again, just to have because again, we're all gonna see this again 2 or 3 times, but
Mhm.
just to keep something
Okay, I would change the
in
name,
there, so.
change the
but
name
this-
and lower the number.
yeah.
John,
John,
Mr. Chair, so I have a question. And maybe it's for the select board, I don't know, but since I've been here, the kitchen remodel has been requested several times.
mhm,
No, we talked about.
that's on
Each
the-
time it's requested, where does that money go?
What do you
Because you're
mean?
requesting money again for that kitchen.
Mhm.
If it's approved, it was approved actually twice already.
it was maybe approved by us, but it wasn't approved at the town.
It
came
wasn't
off.
approved at the town.
Right,
Boy, this is a long time ago.
yes, yes. So it's on, when we get to the actual projects, it's on there. We have it as a medium.
It's just.
Well, that's not really
Let's
answering the
let's stay
question.
focused on the CRF.
I
we circle back?
gonna ask somebody. who am I gonna
We will,
ask?
we're gonna go over that next.
It's on the sheet. It is there.
Oh.
On this.
This is,
kitchen
the
remodel.
CIP is gonna be a long discussion.
Guys,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
but just to keep things moving along,
This is-
again.
We're not
in our-
here
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
day.
So-
Okay.
So what I'm hearing is that we would rename the municipal facilities like transfer station. I don't know if that's an appropriate title.
That's what we had,
And
that
you
has to
may-
be done at town meeting.
Transfer, no,
This
this
is
is
the
a
new
new
one.
request.
No,
We're
these
just
are
a
new
new request.
Or the new.
This would be a new request.
I
So
would say transfer station build out or something like that, because we don't,
Okay.
you don't want to allude to the fact that it has to do with the existing. This
Okay.
is that new project. So I don't, Dan, I don't know if you have a better idea for the name,
Opinion.
but
I mean, this is,
I
again, this is
don't-
just our
I-
recommendation,
Correct.
and then it's gonna go
Yeah.
to. s-
The
select board to
transfer
change it.
station is really part of our municipal facilities.
which is why I wanted to not
Which
just
is
say
why-
transfer station.
yes.
Yeah.
And
but we do,
one of the things we've tried to avoid is the need to have, if you will, and I'm gonna say in the extreme, 600 CRFs
Mhm.
by splitting everything into nano lines.
Mhm.
When the reality is many of these things come under municipal facilities.
which we do
And
have.
so
We have 100,000 in
your
municipal.
hands are
facilities.
tied.
Right.
If we end up with too many of these with too little
Right.
money
Right,
in them.
'cause you can't
and
move it
something
around.
Goes over the amount that's in one, then we end up having issues.
And on operational expenses, I think it makes entire sense to have like an overarching umbrella, because you're gonna then be able to say, you know what, like this just became a priority and now we can move within the category.
Right.
I would say on bigger projects, it probably would be easier sell to the town to say this is the money being designated for this, because we know that it has to happen that way.
And in fact, I'm not sure that CRF would be the appropriate
I don't think.
forum for doing a project of this nature that has a real immediate need. We're
Yeah.
going to very likely have to put forth a warrant article to
We-
get that money and just do
Immediate.
it.
Which is a very good point, and
Just due to
absolutely.
the urgency.
And
Yeah.
so this could definitely be ended up being taken off.
That's true, yeah,
That's
if
totally
it's
fine.
something where, I mean, if our town vote is February,
March.
March, I've blocked the
I
last
think
one
for
from my head
now-
for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
If our town vote is March and the dump is closing in April, then it's
Right.
gonna be an
It's gonna be a
immediate,
war.
yeah,
Oh, we got a problem right now.
Yeah, we have a whole.
but if there's ongoing expenses to managing it. There could be benefit, much like how we're doing the CRF for the wastewater treatment plant for the ongoing costs, there could be benefit to doing a line item for ongoing, which maybe that goes under the municipality umbrella.
Right, and some of it. Some of all of this has to do with how we're defining these and. What the money can be used for.
Right.
It's, you can have a CRF for a physical piece of hardware.
Yeah.
Or you can have a CRF
For
that
some.
encompasses. More than that, for instance. Including, various operational expenses that aren't in your budgets, so. It's. If we narrow down the definition too tight sometimes on these, we're gonna find ourselves in a box. Or we
Yep.
may even have money in an account that we can't use if you don't.
Right, so
Right.
to that point, if you name
Yeah.
it transfer station
Yes.
build out and there's money left there, you can't use it for
can't
anything
touch
else.
it,
So if you
right.
just say transfer station, you can use it for the build out, you can use it for repairs, and you can use
Right.
it for new things.
Okay,
Okay.
So that's why we like,
so then.
Well,
do it-
even if you
yeah.
say build out, we can't necessarily use it for
Repair.
repairs.
Right, so you would
And
just
therein
want it
lies
as
the
transportation.
challenge
Okay,
with defining these things.
yeah, no,
And-
I
Okay.
appreciate the
And do we
discussion.
want-
Transfer
David-
station and how much money?
Yeah.
I'd say 300.
Okay.
300K.
The
And-
reality is, it's probably gonna be closer to 500.
Yeah,
That's
but-
the estimates that I've been given.
And it might be a
They
warrant
come around
article, so-
there.
That's,
and then-
that's gonna, should be
Yeah.
a warrant article.
And it,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
it
much
could be,
money?
it
Yes.
could be, absolutely, just
gonna be
leave it here
warrant
for
article.
now, and I
We-
think warrant article, we'll put that in the
Yeah.
comments.
We
like
leave it
all
here
these little
because it's a
things.
request.
Well,
I
and,
don't wanna take it off because that's what's
Um,
requested, and this is the document we'll look back on and say, this was requested, it did not pass.
and
Much like-
also, we could, in the comments section too, for our next conversation that we have, we'll put in there. Possible warrant article, you know, it may come, like, all these conversations, I'm making notes so that, you know, we kind of have an arc of how the conversation went for each one.
Can I ask
Yeah.
a question about
Yeah.
another one?
Yeah, so wait, can we just
Well,
go to
look.
public
Yeah, we'll go
works?
back.
The point is, we have to move on. We're gonna be here all day, but
Yep.
this is just line number 2. But look, we're talking
And
about
we have
money,
3
it's
pieces
important,
of
but
paper.
nevertheless,
Yeah.
we have to finish with this. Okay, now we can move on to what's this mean here? Public Works,
major
major
equipment.
equipment.
We have the same
That
question, gathering
says-
more information.
Yeah, so
Right.
low, gathering, more, okay, yeah. So,
Is there,
Well,
is there
I
already
think
a
I know what
major
it means,
equipment
but-
repair
Right.
line item?
Yep.
Okay,
But major equipment usually means a plow truck.
Yep.
A backhoe, anybody, it all
Yep.
fits into this category, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. so that's
Okay.
way low. Okay, keep going.
And Britain property enhancements
that's the
and
new
maintenance.
property by the river, correct?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
okay.
So
What
we
is
know
it?
something is probably gonna have to be done, and again, this is more of one for like discussion with the select board, because
Yeah, I can explain what is being done. There will be test borings done, because we need to delineate the landfill that's on there. And then ultimately, we're gonna have to cap the landfill that's on
the
there.
landfill over there?
Yes.
there used to be a lamp like back.
There used
in
to be a
the
dump.
Be a
70s.
landfill years ago.
theoretically.
50 years.
Why don't we open it back up?
That's gonna go
That's right.
splendidly with everything
Okay,
over
John,
there.
we'll put you in.
It's still over there.
Yes, Anyways.
There are also test wells that will be put in,
okay.
so that you can test the water. We have to make sure that it's not
Not
leaching
leaching
into the
into the
river.
water.
But we're, $10,000 not gonna cover.
No,
Yeah.
and to be
That's my
honest with
point.
you, the way this is written, it's not property enhancements per se, and it's not
Okay.
really maintenance.
So,
Ultimately, we'll end up needing a project
Environmental assessment.
to actually address all of the problems.
So more of a
right
warrant
there.
article.
So-
Yeah, we actually have to work through the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services
Yeah.
on all this. So there's a lot of,
Gonna be several.
that's going to
do-
take time.
Several-
Britain
and
property
several $100,000.
assessments and
Ultimately.
development.
yeah.
One of the concepts that's
Britain
been
property,
discussed at
whatever it's
the
gonna
select
call.
board level is to actually take dredgings from the pond and use dredgings for the pond, capital land.
Yeah.
Some of the other
That's-
towns have done
To
that,
reduce
yeah,
the cost of the dredging,
yeah,
because
great.
the cost of the dredging, the numbers we had originally were predicated upon driving all of that out of
Yeah.
town somewhere and paying to dispose of it.
That would be good.
So if perchance we're allowed to do that, and if that works, and if we can find the boundaries of this, then we have a logical path forward. We're not there yet. There's work being done.
Yep.
The first step is really to figure out the boundaries of that landfill.
Which brings
So-
up the question of pond dredging and,
We'll get there.
Okay, we'll get there.
yeah.
We keep moving.
Okay,
So
But
bridge
this
maintenance,
doesn't make
So-
sense, $10,000 for this.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
wow, first of all, what do we want to, we want to change the name? This was just, we put it out there. So we want to
Britain
say
property, so-
like,
I would say assessments and development.
I call it environmental.
Well, if
I'm-
you eliminate just environmental assessments, so, and then work actually needs to be done because of the environmental assessments, we can't do that in that category. What, that's what Dan was just saying.
All right, what's the
Property,
suggestion?
so-
Come on, we gotta get this done.
Yeah. Or Britain property maintenance?
It's not
No,
main.
it isn't maintenance.
Well, okay,
Evaluation.
Britain property.
What if we just put Britain property?
okay.
I like that idea.
All right, I mean, we can go back and change
Yeah.
this again. Okay, and the 10,000, so
Yeah.
the reason the 10,000 is there and the 10,000 is because those were the minimum
Mhm.
CRFs. Again, the whole idea is to get this out in front of you guys, to
Yeah.
get, like, so let's start thinking. We could certainly
But
take
if
it up
you
to
keep it
20 or
vague,
whatever, just
people
keep
won't
it there.
understand.
You know, so
It is
that's,
worth
and same
spending.
thing, I'm sorry, say that again.
If you keep it vague, such as suggestion by Hannah, just written property, it doesn't give people any assessment as to what their money is being spent
How
on.
about the
So if
word,
it is an environmental review because it was a previous landfill, say
Yeah.
that.
how
But
about
you- but then you
rehabilitation?
can only use it for that.
Right, so- Right, and
You'd have to
again,
close it
again,
down.
and that's a good point, and we
Or
can bring it up, like, just for, we can bring up the renaming it in our never, well,
Yeah.
you know, at our next.
Rename.
Yeah, I mean, I think
even when
written
we put it
property,
to
I'm
vote,
gonna
it's a
suggest the
big
word
detail.
rehabilitation,
Just, it's fine.
okay?
Yep,
Just
that would
throw it
work.
in there, it satisfies over here. And we're gonna raise this amount because 10,000 not gonna accomplish anything.
it's a
20,
place.
25?
It's a start.
If you guys wanna
And
bump
in
it up,
2
I mean,
years,
I don't know, yeah.
25.
You think it should be 25? What does everyone else think?
I think that's fair.
25 is, that's still gonna be a drop. in the
So
bucket.
back
know
a
it is,
second,
but-
so when we originally had our first few meetings, CIP, we continually discussed our fiscal responsibility to the town and how we don't want to inflate the taxes unnecessarily. Obviously, that's the
Right.
goal of every town,
It
right?
is,
Right.
yeah.
So when we keep things low, it's with that in mind.
And
I mean, I
again,
guess is there,
I-
let me ask, is there
No.
timeline on doing those environmental assessments?
Yeah.
Where like that's gonna come against
Yes.
the town
Yeah.
before we have the funds
That's not the
established?
CIP
So-
survey, though.
But
So
you're
there
saying
is a
yes.
timeline with respect, and I don't have the duration of that, with respect to. I know we had to file a plan with the New Hampshire Department of
Mhm.
Environmental Services for how we were gonna address all the
Remediate.
issues over there.
So
Yeah.
maybe to put it
So
to
I know that there are
25 gives more of
various
a
steps
buffer.
and a timeline with respect to completing that entire project.
and what we
Prior
can
to
also.
the town taking on that property, it's been that way for what, 30, 40 years?
Well,
So
every
But
now
now
time,
the
all of a
town
sudden
owns
it's an
it.
every
immediate-
time.
Because now the
ownership
town has it,
transfers.
and the town
Because
has
we
to
own
do
it.
it.
Yeah,
So the
you had a transfer.
We didn't own it previously,
Transfer of ownership
happened
plus to
prior to my-
municipality,
for all of us.
Select board piece.
the
so-
rules change.
Okay, moving on. What are we gonna put a number there?
10 for the moment, just because again, at town or at a public hearing, when we plead the,
You
you know, we
can
can
get their
see what their
input, yeah.
feeling is and it can always go up and the select board, they could take it up, well, they can't,
That's
that's the minimum. But
Okay,
like, okay, and then the bridge maintenance, that was a Megan request,
What
10,000.
bridge?
yeah, what bridge?
All of them.
All of them, just to
As
start
needed.
putting money aside, because our bridges, we've got what, 3 or 4, I don't know how many we have in town. but
Walking or driving or both?
Driving,
So driving would fall under road maintenance though, wouldn't it?
unless there's a big problem, I mean.
Is it a road or is it a bridge?
Well,
Yes,
what is
yes.
it?
About the bridge over by the town
Yeah,
square.
here I have.
Are we talking
is,
about that?
You know, where the dam
I
is,
have
I
a-
guess.
what you-
I don't know.
I
That
mean, I
walking
can-
bridge,
It's, no, it was
That's a
money to
walking
be
bridge.
put aside because we know in the next 3 or 4 years, we're gonna need to put money into our bridges. And so let's start planning.
Into the driving
um,
bridges, like the
for that
roadway
now.
bridges.
Okay, here we go.
road bridge.
So
the
this is
purpose-
Megan's
Yeah.
official request.
You want me to read her request?
Yeah, just for the.
Okay. So I'm ready to respectfully request the establishment of a new CRF fund titled Bridge Maintenance. The purpose of this fund would be to support future construction, repair, maintenance, and capital improvements associated with any town-owned bridges. Bridge infrastructure represents a significant long-term responsibility of for the town, and the costs associated with repairs and improvements can be substantial. I would also respectfully request that the new CRF fund be established with the initial funding amount of $10,000. Beginning this fund with a starting contribution would allow the town to begin setting aside resources for future bridge-related needs in a planned and fiscally.
4 years ahead of this. If it's walking bridges, then that makes sense to me. If it's road bridges, that technically falls under the road repair CRF.
I would-
So I think I would need clarity on that.
I think it's like a square, it's a rectangle, but a rectangle is in a square.
Right, yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
so we
One of
want
those
clarity on walking versus.
versus road, yeah.
What is-
Cause
what
it
is
could just be an increase on the road repairs side if it's just those, but I think it's a good idea to set money aside for the walking bridges. Because they will need.
To We have 70,000, no, where do we have? Road repairs, we've got 70 grand.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Right, and you can see on the right-hand side,
There's
under
no
there, there's no
request.
requests,
Yeah.
so
Right.
these are all the things, the solid waste truck is really the only one of note there. She would like to change it to solid waste disposal.
Which is something that we would support, because but it has to go to town meeting, so.
Yep.
Change that name.
And the reason for that is that in the future, we're not gonna have a solid waste truck
Correct,
because we're going to be,
moving away from.
If we could just zip down to community power, I again would like to. We wanted to take that off because it wasn't an official request. It was from last year. And they can't really, pending the roof replacement, which is on a different sheet, you'll see. They can't really use the money this year anyway. And also too, Dan, is it more of like a select board versus CIP? Like it really, because it's not a committee of the planning board, it's a select board committee. So that's also kind of where we had a little bit of a question as well.
But it's not an official request, so.
Yeah, and they didn't, but it was on there from, so we left it there, but if everyone's okay and, Dan.
so what does community power mean?
That's their CRF, it's an existing CRF
It's
for
an
them to use as they, like.
Yeah.
Right, because that's,
Put
down to the
solar.
penny. Yes,
Well,
I
that's,
understand.
they originally only had 2,000 or 2,500 maybe, so they've used some of it, but they can't do the next project because the roof is not stable.
They
Yeah.
came back to us before the last town meeting. and
They-
basically said-
Community power.
Community power folks, and said that they cannot proceed with that project at this time.
Yep.
Because of the issues with the roof.
So can we
Okay.
zero that out then for right now? Is that okay?
I would.
Okay,
Okay, what roof, what building?
okay, we'll get to
DPW.
it, yeah.
This-
it's-
It's on the other sheet.
Yeah.
DPW building.
Okay.
Okay, so then corporate fund maintenance.
So Cork and Pond maintenance dredging, this is
Yep.
the one that we started last
That was
year.
brought up
Yep.
last year.
I have
Yeah.
a question.
Yep.
Because several people in town have asked me.
Okay.
And I.
And you
hate
told them to
having-
come to the meeting, go ahead.
And I hate to tell them to come to a meeting and. Other than James, nobody shows up, but. But the question that people ask me, and someone asked me yesterday, and when they said, well, I can't go swimming in the pond, and I said, mine. I'll tell you later who it was. All right,
Focus.
I said, my understanding is you can. And they said, well, when are you finally gonna fix? And I said, I'm going to a meeting tomorrow, I'll ask. All right,
When are we finally going to what?
Dredge
well,
it.
Probably dredge it,
Dredge it?
yeah, when are we finally, well, their comment was fixed, but
because originally it was 20 feet in depth and now it's about 10 was the last measurement taken. And
Yeah.
from my understanding, it's gonna be about a $500,000 project.
I-
So that would probably be my.
Millions.
I keep
Has it
hearing.
gone up since then?
Conversation to be had.
The
Yeah, go
dredging
for it.
estimates we had originally to dredge the pond and put in
Thanks.
sedimentation
Yes.
basins.
Yep.
Okay, that estimate was $4 million,
That was
Right.
4 million.
and that was too much.
Yep.
And
That was-
so
A couple of years ago.
that one got delayed and then
That's
stopped.
pre-inflation.
That's pre-inflation, yeah, okay,
Right.
so we're probably
So-
looking at what, 6 million?
Six.
Well, we're not necessarily looking at 6 billion. That plan, if you will, once again, was predicated on taking all of the dredging material,
Out of the
stacking them
valley,
up, laying it out,
Now we have a
and
place for them.
trucking them out of the valley.
got it,
And if we have an alternative use for that material, then we're literally driving it just down.
Yep.
The street a little ways, it's gonna be a lot cheaper. We do not have a plan in place right now with numbers against it for what that cost would be
okay,
for a revised plan right now.
So our,
Setting aside money in anticipation of the need for dredging the pond, however,
is a need,
is not necessarily a bad thing to do.
They're up to
Because
screw.
ultimately, we will need to dredge. Otherwise it's going to become a stream
Hampton
through
Lane.
there, so,
But,
which won't work.
yeah,
Work
but
for
the
anyone.
question, Dan, is, you're absolutely right. However, that someday is not 5 years out, it's couple. Maybe,
We're hoping it's as soon as we can find a means of.
yeah, but I'm
affording it.
saying,
Yeah.
as we indicated,
Yeah,
it is,
No, it needs to be dredged now.
well, I guess,
well,
but I don't know what now means.
Right,
But
and there's
soon.
there's no answer to that, and
No.
it's,
Nor is
that's,
there an answer to what it's gonna
but
cost.
that's a question for the select board, not the CIP.
Right, and
Agreed.
last year we did start a
Well,
CRF.
it's a question.
no,
for the CIP.
question for
No,
the
the
CIP,
it's there.
because setting money aside for that dredging process.
Which is what we
Which
were
is what
trying
we
to
did
explain.
last year, and we're trying to explain, to we want to do it again this year.
Right.
So
And there
last
will be
year-
an engineering effort up front to come up with this new plan and costs and all of the others.
Will we have that?
So we
by
had
March?
only 50,000 that was approved last year,
Mhm.
and we were requesting, and we said it was
An
high,
additional
another
100.
100,000, so it would
But-
take us to
But the
150.
question to Dan, I don't know if you know the answer, is the study that you just.
I don't have that answer, whether that will be done by March or not.
That's fine, what,
Yeah,
that's,
I don't.
having an answer that I don't know is always a good answer.
yeah.
Okay,
I'm trying
moving
to be
on.
honest, I
Yeah,
don't
Okay.
know.
I think that will make sense.
Okay, so
Okay,
Department of Public Safety.
Okay. What does that mean, Department of Public Safety? What does it mean?
I mean, Department of Public Safety is police, fire and EMS, and it's their safety.
That we
it's
know,
Their
but-
equipment, right.
Oh, you
So-
okay, equipment.
It's their equipment, so there are things in here that they can cover, there are things that are not. So this is more like putting money away for if like the ambulance goes out and they need to rent something, or they need to make a small repair on the ambulance.
It's actually,
Yeah.
most of it, I believe, is medical devices and such for the ambulance.
Well, we'll.
Not according to Dave, which we can.
Dave is right
we'll
there.
get to.
Yes, but
okay,
like-
devices on another page.
Okay.
Okay,
So again, though, so the 125 came from Dave, I believe, right? That was his request. We had it at medium, we throwing it out to you guys. Do we want to reduce it? There's currently 90,000 in there. Do we need another like, again,
Is the idea to get away from all of the warrant article requests for the safety equipment?
Can
like
we get
faced
Dave's
last year? Okay.
are we allowed to have Dave's
Of
input on
course.
this?
He's right there.
Hi,
Dave.
David.
Hi, Dave.
so we're
Hello.
talking 125,000 CRF for Department of Public Safety equipment request.
Yes, that's vehicles. So that is the replacement of if we were to put 50% down when every fire truck and or the ambulance gets replaced, you need to put $125,000 a year away in order to, when those pieces of apparatus come due, to be able to have at least 50% in the bank to pay for them at the current prices.
So then by doing that, Dave, I'm correct in saying we wouldn't see the number of warrant articles asking for the equipment leases coming in front of town during town vote. Is that accurate?
We don't lease any of our
Or
equipment.
sorry, not the leases, but like, I know there were a couple last year for, I believe it was Officer Patrick's vehicle, and then there were a couple others. By doing this, does that help mitigate that, is my question?
So this doesn't include police cruisers. This is strictly fire trucks and the ambulance.
Okay,
Which are big numbers.
So with the price
Yeah,
of,
but-
this was introduced in town meeting last year. And the idea was to start saving money, putting money away towards the future purchases of these vehicles. They're very, very expensive. And in order to get to at least half, so we can reduce the overall, at least reduce the tax rate, and the debt service is at least have 50% cash on hand when these vehicles come due in the future. That number right now at the current prices is the 125 that's reflected.
What is the estimated life of the ambulance?
10 years. We replace those every 10 years.
And how far are we into that?
We got a brand new one this year.
Okay,
It will be the next vehicle that we replace.
and it was $500,000 for the ambulance.
right.
so I think, yeah,
Which
so that
means 10
makes
years from
sense.
Now, it's
So half of $500,000 is 250.
that's today, 10 years from now, it'll be
Yeah.
double that.
With the idea being that if something were to happen to one of the vehicles though, and or if we have enough money, we don't have to ask for it going forward, right?
Mhm.
Right.
I mean, I'm in support of that. I would say when I think public safety, I do include police in that. So I don't know, I realize this is already an established category and maybe that was the intent was to have that umbrella again, but we may want to explain that when the public's hearing it to actually understand the specific for
Yeah,
fire and ambulance.
and this, I think the blunt, easy way to say it is that police vehicles are a fraction of the cost of the
Right,
other public
because
safety
they're,
vehicles.
yeah, although they're outfitted, they're not, fire truck size or ambulance fancy.
We'll leave that in there.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
moving on to assessing,
assessing,
that's, again, it's the cyclical reevaluation of what, so we think that, we put medium, but I mean, it's, we have 20,000 in there. I know Steve would want it, 2020, we're fine.
you
with
may
that.
want to say assessing,
Could you-
assessing what? This is the,
Could you slow down?
this is the tax roll, is it not?
Could everyone slow down for not just me, for the camera? What assessing means?
That's what I just asked.
Right. But you wouldn't let me ask, I'm gonna ask again.
All right, I'll give you the floor.
Thank you. I
And
wanna ask.
Dan, it's the assessing of our, going through and our property taxes. It's something that has to be done every 3 or 4 years.
Every 5 years.
Okay, every 5 years and it,
But they
so,
do cyclicals through, so usually, assessors will go through 20% of the town
Yeah.
every single year, and then every 5 years they do the entirety.
Right, which is why recently, post-COVID, that huge assessment change based on, you have to be within 90% of what the home is assessed at and what the home will sell for.
10% up or down.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
however, when
so you
the
said-
market goes crazy, like it did right after COVID, a lot of towns dropped to about 70%. Some as low as 50%, and then there was huge increases. However, there's a twofold with that, doesn't mean that your assessment goes through the roof, it means that it just levels out. So usually when assessments get higher, the tax rate drops, so. it's not
Oh.
scary.
That's all true.
No, perfect explanation. Thank you.
That's all true. No, John had a question.
I have a question for Dave.
Well,
Um,
I have more.
okay.
I
For
could
the-
wait till tomorrow if you want. Assessing, would assessing be enough or assessing property be more understanding to the average person?
Assessing, how about assessing tax roll?
Tax roll,
This is an existing CRF, so that
so you
title
can't
is,
change.
yes, that's how it is titled.
Understood, got it,
So it's an
okay.
existing CRF.
That's a question from the public gallery.
Now,
I just want to make a comment. The name of the fund, yes, you want it to be descriptive, but what really matters is the description that goes in the warrant article. So you don't have to have the name encompass all the uses of the fund.
Yes,
What you have to do is make sure that the description in the warrant article encompasses all those uses. So you can have a brief name of the fund, but then what really matters and what you can use it on is what's in the warrant article when it's written and voted on. So you don't have to worry too much about, yes, you want them to be descriptive, but it doesn't have to encompass all the possible uses of the fund. That has to be in the description that's on the warrant once you ask the town to approve it.
good.
Okay,
Thank
good.
Okay,
it must be consistent year to year.
we follow that.
Yes.
All right.
okay,
Are you satisfied,
We
John?
can't willy-nilly change.
yeah.
I can move on now.
Absolutely, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay, other John.
I had a question for Dave. Is there a federal mandate for changing fire equipment, ambulances? And after 10 years, it cannot be used, even if it's in still fair condition?
No, there's no federal mandate. There's NFPA standards. They have safety standards for all fire equipment. But it's not a law. It is a standard, that every fire department tries to achieve. Not all of departments can meet those standards. That has been a policy for us. We can sell, we just sold our last ambulance and it's in service in Laconia currently. As long as it, passes inspection and it's a safe vehicle, it can continue to operate. Where we run into is only having one. When you start getting over 10 years, the downtime for repairs are very critical to us. So to minimize the amount of downtime after 10 years, things start to go on that ambulance, and we look to turn those over to reduce the amount of downtime that we have in town.
So we maintained one, so we'll get a new one this year and sell the old one?
That's already happened.
That's
So we have a brand new ambulance.
So Laconia is actually gonna use that for additional,
They have it as a backup. They have 4 ambulances, and this one they had 3 that were actually broken down, so they were in a pretty desperate spot for a used ambulance. And because the ambulance build times are so long, you really have to rely in order to provide the service. They were in a case that they didn't have a choice.
Okay, what's next, CIP committee?
Got it. We're gonna move on to the next page.
Which is this one, the one that's kind of details the capital.
questions.
So this, Marty, you want to start?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this will start at the top. So the Public Works Garage, this is. That one right over there.
Mhm,
Okay.
yes,
So new doors were put in last year and there's a request for the heating system to be upgraded. We put that as low. Any questions? Okay, secondary power source generator. We put this as medium, but the caveat being that when the Department of Public Works building, the garage, loses power, the fuel pump also loses power, which means the fuel pump that's behind the salt shed, nobody can use during power outages.
Hmm.
For a variety of reasons, it's important, right?
yes.
Is everybody okay with medium on that? It's a request for $70,000.
That amount seems pretty high to me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that seemed high.
So there was a discussion about using the wastewater treatment facilities standby generator when they have their new facility, because it won't be needed, but that's not in the near future and they still need it. So this garage is the one that houses like all the equipment, but it's also where their kitchen is, where they sleep when they need a nap, when they're plowing, you know.
But
So it's a full building generator in addition for the fuel pump, right?
Yep.
And I would imagine it's like programmed into the system. They're not flipping anything. It turns on automatically.
I'm actually
the
not
power
positive it's
goes down.
standby versus.
When I put one of those on my house,
Right, a
it was
generator.
$15,000.
When did
Yeah,
you,
$70,000.
when did you do that though?
Couple of years ago.
Okay, because I will say for the generators we have to carry at our buildings, they run us 170,000 for our plants because of our power usage.
Right, that's the thought.
So if the power usage is higher, that I would,
Based on
yeah,
kilowatt.
I mean, I would ask
Certainly,
Megan what
yeah.
the kilowatt usage is at maximum, because that's what it would have to be
Right.
able to support, yeah. And maybe we can get a slightly cheaper one.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. And then, so there's a shower in the restroom over there so that, you know, obviously they're dealing with dirt and trash.
Mhm, yes.
and-
That's fair.
Right, whoa, time out.
Yep,
$40,000 for.
so that's our question.
There
too.
is a note.
So
for
Sorry.
there's,
it.
is it more than
That
a
was
shower?
expensive.
I would
That's what
like,
the
you know,
comments were.
Yep.
I'd say
Marble, what, granite?
Great,
Right.
right, same. So it's a question about the shower. There isn't a shower currently. So building that in might be, but
could build
our
a
question
whole
right there is,
bathroom.
should we reduce it? And
Yeah.
it sounds like,
Absolutely.
yes.
Okay,
Maybe let
And-
regular local
and is it a low
contractors.
priority or medium if we reduce it? If we say, okay,
Yeah, if we go down to like 20,000 or 10,000, would it remain low or would it move it to medium because there's more wiggle room in the budget?
I would say if
That
it
way you haven't
reduced,
had a
get a-
shower.
Acrylic
yeah, it
pan
doesn't
and
exist.
Right.
You get
So,
all
But
acrylic.
if you're the guy dealing with the dirt, it's not a low priority.
Right,
so maybe a medium would be.
yeah.
I-
say
I
if
would,
the
agree with
cost
that.
Went down and we could be a little bit more strategic, then it
Yes.
could be a medium.
Okay,
I
so
think-
medium, and then what we want to put in, what, 10, 20, what are we?
25.
Speaking from
I feel like
experience,
20 or 25.
Now you're gonna have to
least
rebuild portion
25.
of,
Yeah.
of the building.
Yeah.
at least even if you get an insert, like you're not putting tile in, if you're getting insert, you still have to deal with the drainage and the plumbing and
You
all of
gotta-
that, so.
My
Yeah.
understanding is
Right.
there's nothing there now that you're gonna have to build from.
Yeah,
you know-
you're literally gonna have to jackhammer through the concrete.
So probably.
John knows more about this than
25.
anybody.
yeah, at minimum 25. maybe
Okay, and
30,
make it a
but
medium.
25,
Okay.
medium.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
And then the DPW garage roof and ceiling repairs, so. There is a leak, and so you have to fix the roof. In order to fix that leak, but there is insulation in the top of the roof because it's just a big open building and they've
Mhm.
had heating issues. And they've literally had to slice through it to let the water drain, so that is also the ceiling repairs, it's roof and ceiling.
Understood.
Got it. And that's what's holding up the electrical work. Yes,
For the for the
Solar.
community
for
power,
the
yes.
community power.
Yes.
Yes, okay,
And may I mention that this leak has been going on for years?
okay.
Yep, so high priority.
It is high priority.
Yep.
Fix the roof.
Yep. Agreed.
How about replace the roof?
Well,
It's relatively a new roof, I think.
And
It's-
there's gotta be a warranty on it.
Yeah, yeah,
Don't tell me
something.
that.
We,
Where's the
no,
company
we,
that installed it?
yeah, no, we.
We just had
Well, that's
Spencer Hill
fine.
done for about
Ask for
$40,000.
I'm gonna say it's,
Huge.
Well, it's a, you know,
that's. been in
$38,000
a while, right,
versus
That building,
yeah, I don't know.
$400,000
Yeah.
for a roof, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
way more. yeah.
No.
I don't know.
No,
Okay.
John's objecting to the amount.
Estimates. Oh my God. And the next one is gonna be $5,000 for each window to be replaced?
No, we're on
Right?
siding.
We're going to maintenance garage salt shed, so that's the one that's up there. So when you come out of the rest building and the garages are right there, it's, you're facing that, there, it's just plywood exposed on some spots.
Mhm. It's an ask from last year.
Yep, we didn't do it last year,
This is
so.
for the complete
Yeah.
building. Yes,
$46,000 to replace siding on one side of a building is exorbitant.
I mean, is there
Right.
anything specific we
Uh,
have to
you
use
want me to
that would
read her?
drive that cost?
Please.
Yeah, what's the
Sure.
request?
Do you want
Trying
me
to
to read
find
her?
contractors outside of this.
Okay.
So this is not our purview, they come, the department heads come to us.
Yeah,
with this,
no, I got
And they
you.
ask, so that, like, if you could absolutely talk to Ed about it and be like, hey, where are they getting these numbers? I just have questions, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So I will read to you what Megan wrote. Okay, so dear members of the Capital Improvement Committee, I'm writing respectfully to request the vehicle maintenance garage siding replacement be included in the CIP. The purpose is to, this request is to support the replacement of siding on the town's vehicle maintenance garage. This building is an important operational facility to maintain and protect the vehicles and equipment. Replacing deteriorating siding would help preserve the structure, prevent further damage, extend the useful life of the facility. I would respectfully request the amount of 46,000.
I should say material used, the type.
No,
cedar,
no, it's
vinyl.
just a request. No, this is just a request for an amount.
Dan,
Quick question, CIP committee did a walkthrough, correct?
2 years ago.
And I thought in the schedule, that was part of the schedule for this year as well, to do a walk.
We did already.
We did a
Okay.
walkthrough.
So when you did the walkthrough, does the entire building siding need to be replaced or just that front section where it's damaged?
There's a place in the back as well.
Okay,
Um,
because 46,000 seems like you're doing the whole building.
Well, and you can definitely
So-
ask Megan about that as well, like
But
where
I
she's
just
getting her
question whether
numbers,
that's
but
truly needed.
Yeah, like,
got
I
lots of
think the
questions for Megan, so
intent of the
don't
request
even-
is legitimate, protect the structure, so we don't have to
Correct.
invest in that.
Correct.
We're
We're not
agreed on
fighting
that.
that.
I
It's-
think
it's
it's
the
just
number.
the amount seems high for what they're doing.
okay,
but we don't know how these numbers are being generated.
Right,
okay.
and what
Right.
they encompass.
If
Okay,
it's
so
cedar siding, then yes.
I don't think it
If
is.
it's vinyl siding, no.
I think it is vinyl siding or like that.
Is it
LP
hardy
board or
board or
something.
Something.
We can all walk up there afterwards.
I
Hardy
know.
board is fine.
Okay.
All right, so next thing, so
Yes.
we're gonna ask Megan about where that came, but it
Yep.
is a priority of hers. So we will,
Good.
and it's the second year she's asked for it, so that's why we have it at high. It also doesn't look great and it's right in front of the town.
Yeah, so we'll just get an idea as to like
Mhm.
Yeah.
actual cost, yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Town hall, the kitchen remodel. So this is based on a quote from Will Lambert from, I think, 2 years ago even. And that's the kitchen right behind you right there. We put it as medium.
It's an LY
So-
ask. Alicia, I
That's
don't know if you
definitely
want
gonna have gone up if that quote's 2 years
your
old.
2 cents worth in here about the kitchen remodel.
I mean, it's not great, I hate, but I rarely, I don't know. But I mean, it's not great.
No, it's not, it's old.
Okay,
So-
But I
okay,
mean,
so we have
but
it
it
as
works.
medium.
It works, does it work, does it function? Yes.
Okay.
Is it
Guessing
super
it's
old and habits are falling off the wall? Yes.
Right, so just to, yeah, For our
Ultimately, if we're
priorities.
gonna spend $30,000 on something, we need to be putting things out for bid and not just grabbing somebody
That's
who's
it,
handy in the
yeah.
valley.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Not just a
that's-
local quotation, but
Right,
Yes.
And I,
$30,000 is a significant amount of money to be
Yes.
spending, and I want to make sure that we're doing our best for the town. I don't.
I concur.
Well, it's a
and I-
medium, and that's definitely something, again, when we have the public hearing, see what the town feels like, and obviously the select board can weigh in and say, nope, we don't want to spend that money, that is, this is
So
just our
it's not a
recommendation.
matter of spending the money, it's making sure we get competitive bids.
Well,
Yes.
that's-
And accurate.
You get value for our money, yes.
Right, right, but again,
That's our responsibility. One moment. Yes, Mike?
One of the really interesting and important comments that was made by multiple people is that $30,000 is a significant number in this town. And before we put any number in there, perhaps we should put on an RFP,
R5,
huh?
R5? Is that what you mean?
Well,
Request for
request for
proposal.
proposal would be.
Okay.
actual
Got it, okay.
applications.
I was saying RFP, which is a request for proposal. And see what some people have to say about it, you know, and say, hey, guys,
Look, you could say this about any of these numbers.
but, you know, if we're gonna put it in here and this
Get
is
there,
gonna
but-
wind up actually being voted on.
Yeah, but we don't know what the values are. We don't know what good value is, but I would say that any of these numbers should go to competitive bid.
so can we
Which I would
just,
like to do before.
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
Got a
gets-
couple
Well, no,
things
we haven't
to
said,
like
like,
help
okay.
clarify.
Okay.
so again, baby steps, right? This is more than we've ever done with the CIP. A couple of the
Right.
goals then for next year are to get to what you're saying and to what everyone's saying here. And a lot of towns, we've done some research, they have much more detailed, formal, like ask, for lack of a better word, spreadsheets that come from department heads versus just like a paragraph or whatever. So we're getting there. We're now in July. We're gonna have a public hearing. We're doing more than we ever have, and that's definitely on, we started to do it this year, but we just couldn't get to a formalized sheet, but we looked at a bunch of, couple different towns and stuff that had, it speaks
So
specifically
this
to
is
that.
the information that deals with the competitive bids?
Nope, this
No.
would be, Megan is coming to us to say, I need this salt shed repaired.
Mhm.
Here's why, here's what it does for the town. This is why it's important. This is its
Right.
function. This is where we're coming from this. And then there's a recommendation box if they're able to be like, we want this bonded, we want this, there's a grant available, or we need to start a CRS.
This was somebody else's form, like there's a
Okay.
bunch of different forms that we looked at and
And
stuff.
then they
so-
also list their own priorities from each department head.
Right, so we're
I-
getting there. We're
Yeah, I
getting
was gonna say, having that, and I agree, just to be clear, like, everything that you guys are doing shows that it was heard, what the town said last year was heard. There are, just so you guys know, within our organization, we do those requests as well, and also in each, we require 3 bids.
Okay,
So we could have that at the bottom so that the bid knowledge was there when these questions are asked and it gives us a better idea. Cause my concern, funny enough, isn't, I agree we should source multiple bids, not just in the valley, but like on the kitchen remodel with inflation costs. A bid from 2 years ago is no way gonna stand. I mean, most
Right,
bids
right.
anymore
Right, yeah.
have a 90-day lifespan
no.
and that's it.
No,
So I
we
think
know
there's
that.
benefit to that upfront saying like, have you bidded it yet, or are you just like
Yeah.
thinking a general estimation?
yeah, and
Right.
part of the CIP, according to the RSA, is that we can make recommendations as to how we want this funded or how we
Sure.
would like to see it funded, but
Yeah, I like that
again,
too.
just recommendations.
Yeah.
This is all, and
Because
like,
it goes back to the select board and they make the final
Yeah.
decision.
like this one
Yeah.
town has like planning, feasibility analysis, architecture, engineering fees, real estate, it has construction, furnishings,
They
it
build it
has
all
all
out.
these different, in their request sheet that would have come to, like a CIP.
I
So,
like that.
Again, there was another option that we,
Yeah,
Okay.
and we originally Rob had put together all of this stuff with these fantastic ideas on how to revamp this, but we all agreed like baby steps.
That's fair.
And then just to recap, I know we talked about this last meeting, but that was last meeting and it's a long time ago. Our priorities, we defined no, meaning we don't even want to consider it. Low, meaning not a priority at all. Medium, it's up for debate. High, this is a priority for the CIP. So just to like keep that in the back of your head. So low, we don't think it's a priority, but medium, we want a discussion.
Okay,
Yep.
all of that's very good. I like it.
Yeah.
okay, so
Okay,
we
where
want
were
to
we?
keep going.
Kitchen remodel was where we're at,
Window
so.
replacement.
window replacement for the conference room. So it's these ones right here. There are 4 of them. However much they're pretty standard windows, however much they cost per piece, but then there's also the install.
I'd like to
cost.
have that job for 20 grand. Yeah.
Contractor tells you, I'm doing it for 20 grand.
Yeah.
You're getting ripped off.
That's,
So
that's.
John,
what
you and
we
I will do it,
We
okay?
came
No,
up with
I'm
this.
not saying that, but I
Like,
find
this-
that utilizing a lot of the contractors not from this area,
Mhm.
because they're all whatever, you'll get a much more competitive bid. We did
From
that at
where?
Windsor
Where are you
Hill
saying?
for, we got contractors coming up from Concord and even Massachusetts one case.
So I would push back on that and say go north. Go to Littleton.
Yeah, we've,
It's way
we've
cheaper
pulled
cost of living.
contractors from north, admittedly. So,
I was
Okay.
involved with the window replacement upstairs.
Here?
Back then, it was about $1,000 a window.
Right.
yeah,
Now, the building is not
Right.
typical.
Yep.
Material exterior building,
Mm-hmm.
so they gotta spend a little extra time with that, so they do
Replacement.
replace it from the inside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's assuming that's the standard window size.
So they gotta take everything apart. And put it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
But-
medium, right? Like this is
Yep.
the discussion, like
But it's
better
medium.
quote.
Yeah.
But there is no quote
But
at this
I mean,
point.
20,000
yeah, I would
is
say-
way too much. I would even go.
and I think Morgan was just
75
saying that was a
max.
placeholder though.
It really
So,
was, yep.
Yeah, it's just placeholder amount. I think a lot of this is just coming back to get the quotes, right?
Yeah.
So at least you have a number you can stand by.
Yep.
So what number are you using in the end?
20,000 is what we chose, but
Right, and again, guys, this is an iteration, it's gonna
Yeah.
keep,
Yep.
you
it's
know.
gonna get
yeah,
changed
the
around.
feedback is
Yeah.
invaluable.
Understood.
So then the public safety, the fire bay painting, we put no, because in talking with one of the guys up there, they had another option in mind. It is when you, I don't know how many of you have been in the
They'll
fire
come down
bays.
in a day.
Yeah, it's above,
Yeah.
so there's like the level, because
Yeah.
they're starting the vehicles in there, there is all of that environmental. That's happening there, but low for us. Window replacement up there, it's the last year asked, but I'm gonna point this out.
Last year.
My brother recently retired from the police department in Amherst, New Hampshire. He started here. I have a picture of him in front of it. And then they are the same windows.
Yeah, these are really, this building is in tough shape.
Yeah.
They
Real
don't
simple.
really open. So when you leave here, I would suggest you go up that way. The fire bays were open when we came, but when you park up there, you're facing the Rust building. There's the door that leads into the fire bays,
Mhm.
and then there's a window right ahead of you. That is Chief Payer's office. It does not open easily. You literally have to like do this to get it open, and it's freezing in there in the winter and it's scorching, and that's all around this building.
This building in general has some issues, one of which is that when it rains, we've had flooding in here. In
Yeah,
this
that's the
conference
evidence.
room that
Right
actually
through
extends
there,
out
right
into
through
the
there.
hallway out here. And has actually damaged some of our town documents that were in the cabinets out there. That's a far more important issue than replacing, if you will, those 4 windows. But I'm not sure what's causing that leak, where it's coming from, et cetera.
Yeah.
Leaking from above all the way into the basement,
All the
or
way-
the water's coming
It's
through
leaking
because
from
of the
above
natural
all the
flow?
way down through to the basement, yes.
From
Got
where
the
you
roof.
don't know.
Yeah.
Right, a roof.
So
So
this is why
okay.
we were trying to
Do a
put
space needs
forth,
study.
you know, doing a space needs study to complete that and actually end up either replacing or rebuilding this entire building.
Morgan, was CIP
This is a
involved in the
problem
space
that's
study?
pervasive
No?
through here.
Right.
I mean, we're, right now,
No.
these requests are really putting
He's
a
done it.
Band-Aid on
Please leave.
individual problems.
Yep.
But we
Yeah.
do have more problems. I think the water coming down is probably more serious.
Yeah, and I don't
But I
disagree
don't-
with that, but that wasn't an ask for us, like, so
No.
Steve, as the town administrator, could probably, he would be the department head for that, right?
I
Yeah.
don't know.
But
Okay,
it's
then it belongs on this list.
Yeah.
I mean, we can certainly add.
Yeah,
Because
I
we
have
want it-
no idea what it would cost to replace a roof on the building.
Maintain
can-
the
we can put
longevity of this
placeholders,
building
though, so that
as
we
opposed
don't-
to building a brand.
Right,
new
leak
facility.
repairs.
About it,
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And
Because
that's
the
right,
likelihood
that
of
is
doing
so
a roof
but there
than
are
to do
town
an
documents
$8
there,
million
like.
building.
Right.
Yeah.
Repairs. I'm just-
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna.
Can we
make that
skip
note.
the road piece? Cause I don't know if we're gonna get to it.
Okay, moving on.
Okay, Other than. Can we, we're just gonna pop down, if you don't mind, to just the public works, cause we wanted to circle back to the roads and have a road conversation. There's.
Yep.
Yep.
Um,
So, Public Works, we've got the 1-ton dump truck that was in 2024. This is the lease agreement. We pay our bills. High priority. Same with the
But-
dump truck, but this is a new one, but this is her number one ask. So it's the plow and a dump truck. And there was a conversation that was had at town meeting. I'm not sure how many stayed that long, but it was about buying versus leasing, and the
Yep.
overall sense that everybody agreed on was that buying was better than leasing.
It's cheap,
Mhm.
so
So
that's why.
that's why it's 200,000.
right?
So-
Simplistically, the interest rate that you're going to pay when you buy something is lower than the imputed interest rate that is tagged on in reality to leasing.
Mhm.
And that's the simplistic, and if you're gonna buy it so that at the end of the lease, you buy it for $1, that's the answer, simplistically.
Is the dump truck still needed, given the change at the dump though? Or could we do a more simplistic plow truck?
Different truck.
No,
It's different purpose?
Oh, yeah.
This is not the
Okay.
garbage truck.
Dump truck, like
Yeah.
the back move.
Like,
Oh, okay, it's like an actual
That
lift.
carry.
yeah, dump
Okay.
truck and plow.
Got it,
trucks.
understood. Understood, okay.
All right,
So
and then.
just circle back though, so is it the group's consensus, we really feel like buying is better than leasing? I know I do.
Financially.
Financially, yes. Yeah.
So when you say lease, you truly mean lease. 'Cause
Yes.
Remember
That's what they
last
do
year,
with
there was an
roads.
argument
Okay.
with the rec
Yes,
department.
if-
They were leasing it.
These are leased to
Passenger
buy.
paying For like $4,000 a month, and I'm like,
These are leased to buy. The leases we
so
have.
then
I
to
believe.
finance, it's not a lease.
Yeah,
No,
we
It's still
have
called lease to
we-
buy.
lease to buy options,
Yeah.
I believe.
Semantics, but I get what you're saying.
But this is a buy outright.
Yes.
Yeah,
That
the
would be
200,000
a
would be a buyout. right?
Singular purchase outright.
Yep.
And then the front end loader and backhoe, that's a lease.
Okay.
The vent track, okay, so this is the thing you'll see mowing the lawn out on Packers Field. Megan has done some research. You can purchase a cab to outfit that so that it's enclosed for the winter. You can remove one of the wheels because it has 3 on each side. 3 at each spot, and then you can get closer and be on the sidewalk for better sidewalk plowing.
Which now sucks.
What's our sidewalk plow right now?
It's the tiny little
It's a
thing.
Bobcat I saw.
Is
in
that
this
what it
case.
is? Okay.
Yeah, and like a
It's a
myriad
Bobcat,
of
it's a
problems
skid
with
steer
it. The
truck,
reason that
right.
the, right by Golden Eagle, that there's a
Right,
fence
yeah,
there is
they
because
have
it
to-
fell.
Oh,
So like
Oh.
it's,
I didn't know that. Okay.
so this is her attempt at fixing a problem with
Without
stuff
having
we
to
already have.
invest in a new
But
vehicle
$80,000
entirely.
for a lawnmower?
Can I read this to you? Okay,
Yep.
so this is from Megan. Purpose of this request is to support the replacement of the town's Ventrac mower. This equipment is used for municipal ground maintenance, mowing, slope work, pathway maintenance, snow removal, and other seasonal DPW tasks. A reliable mower is important for maintaining town properties, public spaces, and right-of-way areas in a safe and presentable condition. That's basically the.
We're replacing it and then also outfitting it to do double duty in the winter.
Mhm.
Got it. Now it makes
But
more sense than the 80.
I don't like that idea either, because master of none, jack of all trades, master of none. Keep that Ventrac, use it for your lawn mowing all summer, enjoy it, and then buy a Bobcat for $60,000, and you're saving 20 grand right there. And that could be used exclusively for snow removal on, you can buy a mini one, it's even cheaper. But mini Bobcat versus a normal Bobcat, and you can get a snow
mean,
thrower attachment and things like that on that.
I get what you're
But
saying, but with all
$80,000
respect, you are not the expert, right? Megan is, she uses them day in and day out, and so this is, yes, it's
jack of all trades, master of none, but it still will be used in its full capacity in the summer. In the winter, you're not mowing lawns, so it just sits there. So this is now adding a use to something that's already existing.
I mean, if Megan has to replace the lawnmower either way, then it's kind of moot because we're gonna have to reinvest in that plus potentially another vehicle. So that
Right.
if it's an add-on, it makes more sense because that's cheaper. If the lawnmower has remaining life on it, then, you know, perhaps it's worth exploring cheaper.
We could move that to
alternative.
we could move it
Yeah,
to
we
a
can
medium,
move it, yeah.
medium priority is what I'm hearing then. 'Cause
Yeah.
we're- We have some
Yeah.
questions and, okay, so
It's
we're
worth
gonna
the
move that to
debate.
medium priority.
But
Okay.
in each one of these cases, it's the number that raises the question. That is, the skepticism is about the number,
Yeah,
not the principle and not the application of the equipment.
Could we,
sure.
could we at some point ask Megan to come in and explain that to us?
We could
Where'd
probably
you
call
get the
her right
number?
now.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
No, I mean. for
No,
what
no,
John is-
that's the question.
John
I'd
is
say next
saying,
meeting.
What would
Or
be,
maybe at our, we could do. that
but
at the
she's a
public hearing.
professional and she would know better than any of us.
Yeah.
really.
Okay,
She
you
would
can do that
also-
at your
yeah,
public
I like
hearing.
Yeah,
that
we could do it
idea.
at a public hearing. She can come back after the public hearing when we all sit down and rehash this again based on feedback.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But I think the public hearing, if she can attend that would might be the
You
best, but
have-
whatever, I don't.
Yeah, that.
No, I
would be
think
good.
that's really
Cause
good
then
idea.
she can
Yeah.
answer other people's questions.
Do you have another CIP meeting scheduled?
No.
Not yet.
Okay. So, the lost
Next.
pass, okay,
It does, yeah.
Bean Bender Construction, it's approved, we approved the engineering last year. It's on here, 1,000,005. Again, the number, we have put it on there because we wanted it out in front of people. I have no idea. The numbers are completely, I think, for the roads outdated. I don't know. Dan might be able to shed some light on that.
I don't
But-
have a number yet.
Okay, so, because Article 8 of last year, we approved the engineering, so that means the construction is gonna be coming, because we approved the engineering,
Mhm.
so again, we wanted it out there in front of.
Okay.
Front of people.
So part of the issue with the Cascade Ridge and Bean Pender portion of that is that they're going to have to address drainage problems. Because we're getting erosion and drain and water just floods down there. And what's happening is when you get to the bottom of the hill, the water goes around the corner and ends up in the BBTS parking lot out there. So there's also on here Upper Boulder Path Road, and one of the comments I've made is that we can't fix the Cascade Ridge Bean Bender problem without actually extending the Boulder Path project so that you can deal with that drainage problem. Okay. We discussed this during planning board. And they have currently. They're not like stubbed out to extend. The, catch basins and. For catching all that water coming down. So that project they're doing right now terminates, if you will. Down by the library. Right. But the reality is that's going to have to be extended. In conjunction with the Cascade Ridge project. Otherwise, we're just propagating yet another problem in this town, which is the water coming down and then
Nowhere to go.
with nowhere to go and flooding down at the bottom. There's
And
a
everything
perpetual
you just got
pothole
done.
down on the side going up. And why is that? That's because that's where that water ends up coming down and so forth. So that extension of the Boulder Path Road project, in my mind, needs to be done in conjunction with the Cascade Ridge Beam Bender project. Otherwise, we're going to be basically, the same square where now we're gonna have water, we're gonna continue.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Now, the same question comes up, where does 1.5 million come from?
That,
who
it-
could-
That's a placeholder, I
Yes.
right now.
Yeah.
I see.
I do not know the cost. We do not have
I
those
would
at
guess
hand.
it's gonna be more than that.
Yeah, so, it just.
And my guess,
yeah.
that number is probably more along the lines of $2.5 million
Yeah,
to do.
yeah.
To do
Yeah.
Lost Pass, Cascade and the Bean Bender.
So we did have, there's a third sheet about, because we wanted to have a roads conversation, a part of this, which I don't know if we're gonna get to today. And the sheet wasn't printed out, but I'm glad that you brought this whole up because I think that we need to start the conversation with what have we already approved the engineering for and like getting, let's do that right. Like, let's,
Well,
let's
and-
fix it. So again, I think that we have a placeholder for here. As we get more information and this evolves, that number is gonna go up and it'll change, but just so that, again, people know that that's out there and know what the problem is and.
To
why
that
it needs to be
extent, if
fixed.
Upper Boulder Path ties into that problem, then that should be presented as one line item to the town. That
Yeah.
like,
It-
if we're
right.
saying
And
we
that's what I'm
cannot
saying.
do one successfully without the other, then we just need to set that precedent up front. This is one big project because of X, Y, Z.
It's,
I agree.
it's on there right now as its own line item.
And
You're saying combine
I'm
it.
thinking it
Okay.
needs to be combined based on what Dan just explained, because we don't want to do one without the other. It's just more detriment to us and it's throwing good money after bad.
Right.
So.
So we can combine that, or, I mean,
Margaret?
Just
Yep.
From a former selectman, I believe there is a septic tank underneath the road.
Which road?
Which road and where?
On the upper
Part
Boulder Path?
Of
On the upper,
Upper Boulder
Boulder
Path, that's
Path Road.
past,
right,
that's past, I believe, where.
no, it's
Is
the
it?
old red house that we used.
Yeah,
to
I know
fight
the red
about all
house.
of- It's. That's
But
right
where is
before
the septic
Cascade
tank?
Bridge.
Right before it?
It's before it?
Yeah, it's right across from the parking lot.
Wow.
Yeah,
So that's,
just, there's an issue there.
that
I mean,
near
so-
Tim's house?
I see what
Yes.
you mean.
So that's near Tim Smith's house.
Yeah, right
Oh, the
next to
red
it.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, the
between,
red abandoned.
between
house.
him and the red.
It's not abandoned.
It's not abandoned,
actually.
they fixed the roof.
No,
Oh, did they?
yeah, they
Years
fixed
ago.
the roof
They
except
taped
the chimneys are caving in.
Yeah, I shouldn't say abandoned. I should say
So-
the red home that no one currently lives
And
in.
Yeah,
it's
that
a,
was part of
it's
a.
a family dispute problem.
I have heard the
Big legal
backstory.
dispute with the town for
Yeah.
many years long ago.
Fantastic, I love it.
Um,
Anyways,
okay, well, that's
Okay.
news to me.
Alright,
so,
Yeah.
so
okay,
then the next thing is sign replacements, which this is finishing putting them up and the side streets.
and that was an ask last year that Megan had made, and then there wasn't enough clarification on the request itself. So I'm guessing the ask is coming back around because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
It failed
actually,
because
we
of
It
purchased
failed.
signs, but in someone's infinite wisdom, they didn't purchase the poles. Put in all of the signs. To be honest with you.
That's a
Okay.
new one.
It's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard of. That was done before I joined the board.
well, I do want to ask about.
I don't
Well,
know.
we got our new
Why
sign and then it got hit
anybody
by the
would
snowplow
ever
this
do that.
winter, so that was short-lived.
Maybe that'll be in the 30,000.
Yeah.
So then, and we have, okay, we have that side, and then there's a space holder in here for Triple I Road, and we could take it up, but the thought, we left it there because it was voted down last year, it was 120,000. So I don't know, do we want to put it back in there? Do
I
we
would-
take it off
I
completely?
would think you might want to put it back on there
So-
since you cannot pass in certain places if there is a car coming towards you.
Okay,
The person who said that there was no issue with it said so before the
The winter.
frost
or frosting.
melt.
No, you're right.
What-
And,
Okay.
and
And how are we feeling about priority on that?
Yeah,
The issue with
I would
doing
put
that
that as-
road is, I
Yeah.
belive we need
Forest Service approval.
Forest Service approval.
Yeah,
And there's the approach, there may be a dispute between the approach that we want to take versus the approach they want us to take. We're doing this.
That's my concern.
And that's
Yeah,
why
I would
Put
put that as
some money
low
Not
just for that
addressed last
reason.
year.
No, that's
Yeah,
our
yeah, I know.
responsibility.
Because I'm not willing to vote for things where we don't really know whether
We can do it or not.
Okay,
We're not sure that we.
Whether we
get
can
that
even
approval.
do it,
Right,
so put it as low.
put it
or
as
whether
low.
the cost
Okay.
is going to be, 8 times as much because we're forced to do it in a different way.
Hmm.
So, so
Agreed.
Put it
put in
as-
120,000, it's a low priority, but the comments are gonna be,
Well, it's actually higher than a
I
low
think it's higher than
priority.
low.
okay.
I mean, the road.
For this year though, remember, because
Yeah.
this is just this year, it can be bumped to next year, that's
Yeah.
not, I'm not
That-
saying that,
The
but.
issue there is that's our, if you will, secondary.
It's
egress
our
Okay.
escape route.
for the,
So we want it as a medium?
I'd say so.
as a minimum.
Okay, and then,
Look,
but the
the-
comment is we're to Dan to just put a pin in what you're, button it up, sorry, is it's a conversation between the town and the forest, like, that's kind of what the whole, like, we're waiting.
There are some, those details need to be worked, and as far as I know, they have not been worked.
But-
Cause I would say if there's
Michael,
a,
if should something happen to 49, that becomes vital. Yes,
No, winter.
well, it's not plowed in the winter, so.
Okay.
It is
Unless-
plowed.
We have no
Yes,
secondary
it is.
egress.
It is
No,
plowed.
It is plowed.
Triple I?
We're talking about Thornton.
That's
We're
right.
talking about.
No, we're talking about
Right,
between
49.
the bridge out near Depot Camp up to where you get
Oh,
to
you're-
the ski area.
Right, you're going out to the
When,
ski area.
when
Right.
Mike mentioned the emergency egress, I was thinking like when you're going out to Thornton, like
No,
No.
John
No.
said, which is not plowed
No,
during the
that's-
winter,
that's-
but
that's-
yes,
that's-
that portion.
Cross-country skiing then.
Yeah, you
yeah,
can get on
there's
the
a lot of use of it right now because we don't go through where the construction is.
No, I'm saying that I think that this project is of a higher priority because it is the escape route if something goes wrong on 49. And like all of these projects are, people complain about them, or I don't want to spend the money until they need it. And then the question is, why didn't you do something? That's right.
I think to Dan's point, though, you'd want to bring it full circle. We want alignment with the Forest Service before you're just setting
Yeah.
aside money
No,
for
no
something that
question
we
about
might
that.
not be
It's
able
just
to
that
do.
little section
I
before you
know.
get to the.
Oh,
All
yeah,
I'm
so
saying
it's like
is-
little
Not
piece,
even
but
there,
yeah.
before you get.
It's an important piece
Yeah.
of
I
roadway.
agree.
Yes, and I will
Don't
just
ignore it.
reiterate what Chief Noyes has presented to the CIP and here is that in the past, the I forget what their name is, but it's the Snowmobile Club. They wanted to put a snowmobile path and create the bridges basically on the other side of the river all the way out. And that would
Yeah.
be, they would maintain it, they would build it. This town said no because they didn't want snowmobiles
Snowmobiles.
in
Absolutely.
our town.
Yes.
So then that's why there is no secondary road to leave the valley. And we all experienced that if you were here during, what was it, Sandy, Irene? When the road washed out by Smarts Brook.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there is history to it. That's why I think you're placing an importance on it, but
Yes.
all
Yeah.
of that said,
If
the
you,
town has voted in the past is no.
if you had been here to witness the crisis, you would feel differently about it.
Absolutely.
Okay, moving on.
All right.
Lucas device.
So Department of Public Safety has a thing called a Lucas device, which is. Okay, how do we explain this?
It's
So
an automatic, it's an automatic CPR
thank
machine.
you. So you're basically,
pumps you.
you're unconscious on the cot. Your arms are sort of semi loosely attached to it, and this thing compresses you with exactly what you need, the right compressions at the right speed for as long as you need it. The one they currently have, they just received notification that they're no longer gonna service it. So they've got an older version, they're no longer to service, they need a new one. That's what this cost is. The reason we place this as a high priority is because of staffing.
It
Yeah,
saves
agreed.
lives.
It's been used recently.
I don't
multiple
think
times.
there's
It
gonna
is
be
a high
any debate on this one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
It's
I don't
fine,
have
we're
any-
good. I don't think there's
Yeah.
debate on that, yeah.
Sounds great. I'm sure that other people will have questions about it, so that was why I was heading that off, but yeah, to maintain the standard of care, we place that a high priority. The Parks and Rec
That's the
Van,
lease again,
lease
right?
payment, we pay our bills.
Right, so that was that. Now.
All right.
we
Thank
wanna-
you, by the way.
Yes, thank you for the work.
Yeah.
So there was another piece of this puzzle, like, again, and we'll maybe get to it next year, where we kind of took a spreadsheet that Megan used and we bulk chunked out like all the roads in town. Like, and what have we done engineering on? Like Valley Road, last year we spent 20,000 on an engineering it passed. So we're gonna be needing to do construction on that. There's projects. I think that the sewer line we were gonna be circling back, even though it was voted down on Snow's Mountain, that may be coming back. You know, and there's those kinds of conversations that we can put off till the next time we meet, maybe, but just so that, or bring it up at the public hearing. I don't know if we can do that. To know that they're out there. We passed $50,000 last year for West Branch / River Road sewer line engineering. Okay, so if we spent the money on the engineering, aren't we gonna
That
do the
project
construction?
is
So
gone.
the money for
Yeah,
that.
we're going
that's
to
all that
do
kind of stuff.
something at least as an interim measure to resolve the immediate issue of that sewer line freezing and for their
Mhm.
place. They're gonna put a heat trace or something in there to keep
So,
it from freezing. There's more work that needs to be done. The idea behind delaying the West Branch Road and River Road project was to make sure that we didn't have to dig everything up twice, if you will. So we wanted to do it once and be smart about it. But as a minimum, there will be an interim measure put in. At the Soper's house out there on the corner, their sewer line keeps freezing and it's always inevitably on weekend of the Clay Soper Memorial Ski Race and such.
right.
Of
So
course.
there was $250,000 that was put in on the spreadsheet for that. That's what, if you'll notice on our little sheet.
Yep.
We don't have a high, medium, well, I mean, we're thinking maybe medium. Again, the 250 came from the yearly spreadsheet.
Yep.
So again,
That's
just
best.
keeping it
numbers I
out
have
there.
right now. Yeah.
Yep.
Should we put it as a
Probably.
medium and then the select board's gonna?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So that's great there.
I would say at least my feelings on it, because I know James is waiting to talk and I know Chief Noyes has to talk and everything, that maybe we put a pin in roads until our
Okay.
next discussion and
Okay.
keep moving with the meeting. Because I also know there is this group's meeting in 20 minutes as well on landscape.
Yeah, so
So-
then maybe what I'd like to do is just again for a placeholder for our next discussion. I'll put just, you know, the roads that we had already approved engineering money on, which would connotate that we're gonna need to spend money on construction, just so that they're out there. And we moved, Upper Boulder Path was originally in 2028, but based on the select board discussion, we put it into, you know, Piper's amendments and engineering concerns. We bumped it into 2027. Okay, we'll do that. Do we want to, and we're gonna, do we want to talk about a public hearing, scheduling a public hearing? Or we want to wait on that?
I'd really like Rob
Okay,
to be able to, I know we talked about possibly next week because of we're all supposed to be here for the 91A
right.
thing, so we
Mhm.
thought maybe that week, but we're, you know, it's summer.
Okay,
Catherine's out for a bit, Rob's out for a bit, I'm out for a bit, so we're trying to juggle that.
okay. All right, so then I'm gonna.
So the answer is no.
plug in- Yeah, so I'm gonna plug in those roads and make the changes, and then that can be for our next CIP meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yay,
And
Thanks,
then-
guys.
thank you so much.
Nice
Great
work.
input.
Good.
Good job.
It is a
thank
lot
you.
of work, thank you.
Code enforcement.
Chief. Right, there he is. Please tell us
Yeah.
about the code enforcement progress. That is, there were two items that I recall. One of them being the Golden Heights project.
Yep,
We were talking about greenery.
yes.
Go ahead.
So we met with the landscaper, and we looked at the approved list of plantings. And the actual plantings that are there are in that approved list, under the evergreens. He did indicate that these particular, species of plants, take about 2 to 3 years to really take root and start to grow. But usually, within 3 to 5 years, they'll be anywhere between 4 feet and 5 feet high. So we did not see any indication that there was anything wrong with the plantings as far as what was approved by the planning board. They did finish the other landscaping, and did clean up, where we asked them to. We did perform an inspection this week and we found that, they had removed the, screening for the HVAC systems on the other side, which was a requirement. So we failed the inspection and gave them 30 days to remedy it and sent them a copy of the report, and we haven't heard, but that just went out to them yesterday, so we haven't heard back. So we're unable to close out that building permit until that screening gets done. But as far as all the other requirements, they've met the requirements. The trail sign is up. The rest of the site is cleaned up. The other plantings are where there should be and of the type that were listed and approved. But as far as clearing out that building permit, like I said, there was plantings. It looks like they had removed them. I don't know if they removed them because they died and there was intentions to bring them back, but we did fail them because it was one of the requirements that they were supposed to have.
Thank you.
Chief,
Go ahead.
Chief, I have a question for you. This is John Racine. In regards to those plantings in the front at the apron area. I noticed some of them are a little bit straggly, but is there a guarantee from the owner that they will continue to maintain those for a while, or how does that? I forget what the agreement was on that.
I think there is some language in there that requires them to replace any that are dead and or dying. I don't, and they have already replaced the ones that were dead and dying. So what you see there, I don't know. Beyond that, we would have to work with the association. And my question is I don't know if there was a time frame put on that or not. I'd have to research that. If the planning board didn't put a time frame on that, then I would have some difficulty compelling them to make those changes.
I don't remember that either. Okay, thank you.
It just underlines how
Yeah.
how much more specific we need to
Yes,
be on everything we do.
Exactly. Yeah,
And if we want it to be this high, we tell them that that's the way it has to be at the
Yes.
time that they plant it.
there's so much
That
going on, we can't overlook these little.
Be delineated as carefully as we can.
Yeah.
And not to, accept verbal commitment.
Yeah,
They say, oh yeah, like I'm gonna build an 8-foot wall. And if it doesn't happen, then what do we do about it? Unless it's written and part of anyway, we've been through this before. We know that's what we have to do.
yes.
Okay,
So the builder has requested release of the bond. We're gonna refuse to do that until the conditions have been met. So we're hoping within those 30 days, as soon as he meets the conditions, we will then apply to have that bond released.
good. All right. What can you tell us about the progress at the outdoor adventure zone?
Outdoor adventure zone, we've been monitoring it. There really isn't no changes as far as our perspective is. All the erosion control measures that we requested are being done. We did get a request for the potential for opening the mini golf course early, while they're still doing construction. I deferred them to the planning board for a decision. I wasn't comfortable being the person that would make that decision. So I referred them to you. I've yet to hear if there's been any approach, but I'm just gonna leave it at that.
No, we've received no request.
Okay.
We're not prepared to make the request yet, but
Yeah.
we're just exploring that.
Because you haven't said anything, I understand exactly the condition. Have there been any other requests with respect to the adventure zone?
No, there has been no changes.
Good. And therefore, we'll move on to SE Group recommendations and follow-up. One of the questions, that has never come up before, except in one of the meetings with the SE Group, and that was in this era of increased numbers of wildfires and forest fires, is the town prepared if there should be a forest fire in this region or around the town? What could we do if we experienced a drought and there was a fire? It was one of the questions that was raised. It wasn't in any of their material, but I remember the conversation. Something about,
Fire break.
yes,
So I actually spoke, I can't remember his name, from the Forest Service. And they are open to ideas like that. And I didn't know that if there is a forest fire, the town is actually on the hook for a percentage of whatever the cost is to put that fire out.
Correct.
Which I didn't know.
I didn't know that either.
So Parks Location, they had two forest fires. The
Yep.
first one, they were like, whoa, wait, what? We're on the hook for this, but this is your land.
Yeah,
And because it's a public benefit, they, and I forget the exact percentage, but the towns where there is state and federal forest, they're on the hook for a percentage of the costs.
Is that a double digit cost?
For Hearts Location, I believe it ended up being like $60,000, which is a huge
That's a big
part
number.
of their budget. I mean, the
Whoa.
population's 60 something, so.
I have a quick question. Dave, do we have an emergency action plan that covers that as part of yours?
It's in the emergency action plan, but what it's most recently covered is the hazard mitigation plan. So it's actually covered quite extensively in the current draft that's out right now. There are many facets of our wildland interface, everything from building codes to defensible spaces to fuel reduction to burning restrictions to our water resource plan to training, not only of our staff, but the community on some of the things that they can do. And all of those things fit into our wildfire protection. It's not just a buffer. It's all of these things together that we use.
Evacuation plan if we were to need it?
Yes, yep. Evacuation plan, that was, Route 49, if it was, engulfed in fire, even though there is a natural fire break there, certainly impacts our evacuation capabilities.
Right.
So that stuff, but it is very difficult to being the national forest as a town to tell the national forest what to do with their forest has always proven to be very difficult.
Catherine.
Does the town have or can it be incorporated in our insurance? Or how do we how do we as a town protect ourselves from a catastrophic event like that?
So Hearts Location ended up just making it a budgetary line,
Okay,
Yeah.
so Sierra,
and they just put
okay,
X amount of money into it every
Okay.
year.
yeah.
So, and to
So
give an
that's-
idea on the cost breakdown, it's a shared 50-50 cost, but it has a cap of 1/4 of 1% of the town's valuation of all the properties, okay?
All right,
You
Where
said
you get-
50% of one
It's-
fourth?
No, it's 50-50 split,
Okay.
but there's a cap that is 1/4 of 1% of the town's valuation of all assessed
1/4.
properties.
Of 1% of the
So
town's
you're reading
valuation.
this off your phone?
What?
You're reading
I
this off?
I just confirmed it, but I'm aware because of Hearts Location of this issue.
So then we could, that's enough, that we can grab a hold of that and say, okay, how do we fund that?
That's
and
a
have
massive-
the-
Well, and that's what I was saying, this is where
Our
water bill is gonna
valuation
have
is what,
higher exposure than
$750
Hart's
million,
location.
more or less,
Yeah, say
So-
700 million.
or 700, well, so
760.
What are we total,
750, 60, whatever it is.
total value?
You're talking about $1.8 million.
Total valuation of the town.
It's
It's about
$750
million.
million
Okay, so
more or less.
1% of that
Yeah,
Is 7,
Seven
so, yeah, it's a
million.
million.
is 7, and then basically 1/4 of that would be the cap.
yeah,
Right.
just under $2 million.
So it's under 2 million.
So
Couple hundred thousand, right?
No,
No, a
It would
million,
just under
be-
$2
million
million.
nine.
No, wait a minute.
no,
It's 1/4.
it's 1/4 of the 7
of
million.
1%.
Now, is this
Right.
state law, federal law? Where did this come
Oh,
from?
yeah.
This is.
Who
federal.
says we gotta do this?
The fire, it came from the National Fire Service.
Yeah.
Right, it's,
They
yeah,
were at one of
It's
our
federal
North
law.
Country Council
Okay.
meetings. It's federal law.
and it's
I-
been a huge issue in Colorado
I
as
said,
well.
if you don't
so-
like it, what do we do about it?
Yeah.
Well, they can take their forest and move.
Yeah.
Or we can take our 500 acres and go.
And move. But yeah, for budgeting purposes, like Hart's location, to Liz's point, they basically took that equation and they have budgeted to that dollar amount, because they know that's their maximum exposure.
Now, can we buy insurance for that?
No idea.
Yeah, I don't know on that one.
I can look into whether we have it already or not. I mean,
Yes.
we just filed a liability claim for some property damage, so. 2 residents were damaged, nothing related to planning, but we do have insurance that covers a lot of different things, so I will check to see if it covers forest fire.
Okay.
Really surprised, but yeah, please do that.
No.
Just so, you know, the board knows, you know, we've been identified as a low, very low risk nationally. When you look at, the national map, we're not even in the category. So we're not even eligible for any grants for this sort of thing. Just because the,
No,
when
I
you-
wouldn't. Go ahead.
And even in our hazard mitigation plan, our probability is very low. So getting outside resources or federal resources towards this sort of thing is pretty much non-existent for us right now. If you look at the national map, it's all, you know, California, the Southwest and upper Midwest.
Right,
Um,
but the original question that came up and the reason that there was a discussion with the SE group was, is there such a thing as, you know, fire breaks and action that we could take in order to make the town safer? Nobody thinks that there's gonna be a forest fire. I don't know, maybe there never has been a forest fire that's threatened the town, but if it did exist, is there anything that we could do? That was the question.
There's a number of things that we can do. We have the Firewise brochures. As part of our hazard mitigation plan is to post those and allow those to try to disseminate those to the community where there's different things that you can do around your home to help prevent these, help mitigate the risk for wildfires. There's a whole list of stuff between the type of building materials, things that you can do within the apron of your yard and beyond, picking up the deadfall. And just for a historical perspective, we went through this, the planning board went through this several years ago, probably 10, 15 years ago, looking at creating a special zone for fire breaks. And it was shot down because if you were to do those fire breaks, it would have eliminated the possibility of building on any of the lots that abut the national forest. So it never happened. So we've been down this road before. So what we're left with is all the other kinds of mitigation strategies that we have to try to help prevent this from happening. And we have that information.
What you're referring to is the boundary between the town and the national forest is private land. Is that correct?
Correct. Much of it is,
That's the issue.
yes.
Right up against it.
Yeah. Dave, it is my understanding that the Forest Service has been doing quite a bit of logging on Triple I Road, and in doing so, they are creating fire breaks as well. I mean, that's another, I know in Colorado, they got big into doing the logging to create the fire break so it can't jump, it at least stops. That could be potentially another avenue that people with larger amounts of acreage could look into within Waterville Valley, correct?
You could, there hasn't been a lot of logging in Waterville for about 25 years.
Okay.
There's always that potential, and the biggest thing that we can do is participate in the National Forest's Forest Protection Plan that's renewed about every 10 years. You know, for us as a town to have a say in what's going on in their forest planning, I think is probably one of our best bets. You know, trying to encourage whether it's natural fire breaks through logging or any of those kinds of things.
Okay.
It's 11 o'clock. And I would suggest that we move on to committee reports
Okay.
and ask.
Thank you, Dave.
There was nothing else we wanted to
Yeah.
talk about with SE Group. Just that.
Well, many of the things that are in the SE group recommendations are now part of our working group functions. That is, okay, I could review them for you.
Do we want to seat anybody else or no? Margaret left.
John, would you then take Margaret's place?
I'd be happy to.
So let the record show that John was seated at 10,
11:02.
whatever it is.
But, Mr. Bill,
Yes, I'm trying to answer a question.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. What do you want to know?
You brilliantly pointed out a couple hours ago that our master plan is in several places too expansive, nebulous, whatever. It would seem that is something we need to take a real strong look at.
So master plans in general are supposed to be an overview to allow for flexibility because it is a plan over the next 10 years. So they are more generalized in order to allow for that flexibility, changing of guard, things like that. It's not supposed to be so specific that you are pinholed to one avenue or one way to get to that goal.
No, my point was that there are insufficient number of references within the master plan to specific items such as landscaping, such as architectural design.
Yep.
There is a couple of paragraphs here and there, but they really don't say anything.
Mhm.
So what's the point? The point is the master plan is supposed to be the governing document that directs how the boards operate and what what our objective, our goal is as to how the town is administered. But if it doesn't say anything that's of any significance, then what use is it? That was the reason I brought it up, and that's why I think that after 4 years, that it needs a review. Now, do we have, real time to do this? The answer to that is no, because we're busy with these other projects that have to do specifically with landscaping, parking, architecture, that have a significant impact on the warrants that we bring to town meeting. Okay, so that's a priority. But, what Mike's saying is, I think, correct, that we shouldn't forget about the fact that that our master plan is 4 years old. And we need to start to look at it again.
Mhm.
Because the last time we spent, I don't know what, 10 years before we examined, and then we had to do a complete rewrite. What was there previously essentially went in the trash can, and we rewrote the whole document. It took nearly 2 years to do it. So we shouldn't wait that long and we
You wanna
shouldn't
do
let it,
Section by section.
that's it.
Just keep
We
it
shouldn't let
going.
it gather dust. That satisfactory? Looking at Mike. Hey, we should make note of this and Mike doesn't say anything.
I totally agree. I hate to admit this, but I actually reread the master plan last weekend.
Wow, must have been raining.
Well, no, I was after I finished playing tennis, whatever, and I reread the entire master plan. Because of something you had previously said.
My,
And I reread the whole thing and I said, wow, this in large view is at 10,000 feet. And is that what we want? And and if that's what we want, that's fine. But it is really squishy, nebulous, call it whatever you want.
I call it aspirational.
Aspirational, but it really doesn't get you down to the nitty gritty of where we live.
If we were running a business,
If we were running a
that
business,
business
I'd
would
have
be, that plan would be worthless.
that if we were running a real business, that plan would be thrown out.
Okay, so we've covered that. Now, can we move on to, let's have a report from the select board.
Yeah, let me
finish
just
the
give
SE
you one comment from
The
the
SE
select
group.
board. We are
Right.
working on a overall policy for the establishment of committees for the various boards. And that, we have a draft of that. Steve Royer's been working on that. I believe he's passed it to Ed. I have reviewed it. So that will be coming down the road, covering just various roles and responsibilities and activities and such associated with the establishment and operation of various committees.
Committees, is that, this is semantics, is it, does that also include working groups? Like, is there a difference between that?
No.
Okay,
No.
No,
thank
no.
you,
a committee is a committee. Even this board
Yeah.
is a committee.
thank you.
Yeah, so, so that'll be coming down the road. We tried to take the approach of looking at it from a, let's say, a holistic perspective and saying, okay, we can't have one committee operating one way completely different from another committee operating differently and so forth, that we kind of had to have a set of standards for the community here. And so that will be coming down the road. Okay, and that's all I really wanted to go over from the select board perspective today. I think I've talked enough.
Okay, then the Morgan pointed out to me that I hadn't finished the discussion about the SE group recommendations. But so I have the list of them here. And the parts that are important are guidelines with respect to architecture, scenic view standards. That is the protection of the scenic views, what makes Waterville, Waterville.
Mhm.
And architectural stance, sorry, and multimodal infrastructure. Nobody forgot about that. That is, we're still interested in bike paths. The way in which the roads are being reconstructed incorporate bike paths and more like safety procedures for pedestrians segregated from vehicular traffic and that it's able to be plowed and wintered. Yeah, I think we're doing something about that. It's not ignored. And standards to address regulations. Oh, here's one, curb cuts. This is something that I think that we need to address because now we're spending a lot of money on road improvement. So now let's say along Boulder Path, and we have a new sewer system and we're going to resurface it and it's being dug up and improved. The infrastructure is going to be significantly better. So then somebody comes along and says, I want to make a curb cut. Do we have procedures? Do we have ideas? Do we have, a regulation that deals with this? Now that we've spent all this money on improving the road, what do we have to say about curb cut? Everybody know what a curb cut is?
Mhm.
I'm looking at Dan and saying.
No, I understand what it is.
No, what I mean is that I don't recall any work on this. I don't recall reading anything about it. I don't recall that we have any procedures, nothing in the ordinance that deals with it.
If someone were to request a new curb cut to an existing property, would
Starts
we
here.
charge an impact fee for them to do that if?
But
there
my
was a
point is that
cost
we don't have a regulation
by
that
the town?
that talks about any of this.
No, we don't.
But I would be, distraught, put it that way. We spend all this money on Boulder Path. And then do, what, cut the drainage system, to cut.
It can be very complex.
Yes,
Because
You
the drainage system and so forth is designed for the.
but it's
flow of
been
water.
engineered. We spent money on engineering. We're spending
Yep.
money on construction. Look at all the material that's out there now. All of that's
Right.
gonna be in the ground.
Yep,
But aren't, like, when you have development and you put curbs in, aren't those factored in based on the lots or the plots? And that
Site
now you
plan.
have to work within the confines, the owner who purchased that lot, this is where your curb cut is, it was reestablished or established when this development was.
Show me where it says so.
Oh, I don't know, but,
For subdivision plans, the driveway locations have to be on the,
Correct.
have to be on the plan.
Right.
Liz, do you have something to say about that? Is there anything definitive in any of our ordinances or any of our site plan regulations that deal with this?
So whatever's on the plan has to
Has
be
to be-
built as it's presented. Unless there's a waiver requested or they come back with an amended plan.
Right, so
I
right
have
now,
to
I
do
would
that
think Piper
for my
in
place.
doing that
Yeah,
road
okay.
is already reestablishing the curb cuts that were originally
Okay,
planned.
but if it's engineered into the plan that exists, but what if somebody wants a new one?
Or if the lot was pre-existing and hasn't been a part of a subdivision, then there's no real planning board.
Okay, I'm raising the point.
But yep,
And I'm raising the question. That to say that there's nothing in the regulations right now that deal with this matter. As I've been reading the ordinances of other towns, I know that this has come up. And I read about it, and specifically, I think it was Conway had problems. And they had to deal with it. So I'm raising it to say that we got to put this on our agenda list.
Agreed.
So-
I think you're right, Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at Morgan and saying, see what trouble you just caused? Okay, so that was standards for evaluating and regulating curb cuts. Ta-da, that's what we need to do. And then adopt standards to limit storm runoff. Yeah, we're looking at it, and I know that it's a matter of discussion, and I know that Dan just raised the point as to what are we, doing about improving our ability to handle runoff that comes down off of
Cascade.
Cascade Ridge.
Mhm.
And then, well, look, we're surrounded by mountains. Every road around here has a runoff. And okay, so the point that the SE group made was you need to adopt standards and you need to deal with runoff and you need to be articulate about how these runoff questions are, because they're not handled now. I know at the bottom of Snows Mountain is, a small lake after every significant rainstorm.
Mhm.
It happens to be on, Craig Larson's land, and I'm sure he's not happy about it, but that water doesn't go anywhere until the sun evaporates it. And then clarify thresholds and requirements for minor versus major site plan review regulation. I'm looking at Liz. That is, I don't know that we've made a significant distinction between the requirements for a minor versus a major site plan review.
I don't believe it's crystal clear in the site plan regs. And then also, is there an existing application for that? Or a process for the minor?
I
I don't.
can't recall specifically, but I would say that you know, there's not a developer in the world who wouldn't want a minor site plan versus a major site plan review.
We've done minor ones before.
Yes, I understand we've done them.
Like change an
But-
application stuff, yeah.
So who's to say that this is a major versus a minor? Who's to say this is the criteria, you satisfy this criteria, it's this way or it's that way? That is, I don't think it's crystal clear enough. So I'm looking at Liz to say, maybe we should work on it. And then, number 8 on this list is Corcoran Pond designation as an overlay district. It's a problem because the town owns the Corcoran Pond, but doesn't own the land around it.
Yeah,
So-
when we went through this, the last meeting, Dan, I believe you had noted the select board was working, based on my notes, working to better define easement protections and developments for the Corcoran Pond area, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
we've been discussing easements.
Just
That's,
update.
that's
to address that
updating
piece. Okay.
the existing documents we have that are almost
I met with
unintelligible.
Spruce Cove Title, Deed and Title Research Company yesterday.
Okay.
And we're looking in how we can create a working relationship where they can do all our deed and title easement access and right of ways that have been granted since the beginning of the corporation of Waterville Valley. So.
How much
we
they're
had that,
charging us for that?
we had the meeting yesterday,
I mean, I've just read some of those documents and they're fun.
all that being said, we need to figure out what the budget's gonna be for that, so, and where we can find the money.
Okay,
But we have somebody that's willing to do the work and excited to get started. They left yesterday with all our tax maps. But we need to find a funding source, which is. Will be on the agenda for this next select board meeting.
Is that something that would be better established as a CRF for an ongoing? Or is it gonna have to be something that immediately happens this year and that's why it's going in front of the select board?
It's probably operating budget, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get it funded right away, only because. There's a
We
lot,
need to
a lot of
start.
pending questions that need to be answered. soon.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it, understood.
And recommendation number 9 was to improve our affordable and workforce housing. Definitions, provisions, incentives, you know, a perpetual difficult problem. And, you know, we talk about it, we think about it, if there's something that we can do about it. But
Non-caller.
that's us, unknown caller. We have, you know, such limited land, we're not gonna deal with that now. But it's what's on the list of the recommendations that Morgan requested that I delineate further. And then this was reduce the minimum residential floor area. This has to do with tiny homes and the fact that the state has stepped into this area and may tell us what to do. And there isn't anything that we're gonna do except see what comes out of Concord. And then the last on the list, improve the accessibility and availability of zoning and overlay district maps online. That is, I think that's a valid recommendation.
Well, I mean, the mapping program is accessible online.
GIS.
Yeah, the GIS and the zoning layer is on there. So if they want PDF, is that what?
I don't think we have this kind of detail online. I may be wrong, but,
Yeah, that is from our mapping, that's the mapping program.
okay,
So,
There's a
and-
PDF of the zoning map online on your website.
fair enough. Okay, and the last
and
one,
the infrared.
and the last one was fire protection,
of what?
forest fire.
Forest, what we chatted about earlier.
So committee reports, the select board, is there anything that the conservation committee wishes, the conservation commission, I should say, wishes to report?
So there's nothing new from the last meeting, but we are having a meeting today at 1 o'clock. There's another meeting going on today here, and we'll have some information from that meeting for this meeting next time.
Okay.
Before I end that, I have some handouts here for our landscaping. And your homework is to kind of just look at these.
To read it.
Well, pass them around, and next time we can talk about it more for our landscape. But that's about all for the conservation.
There's two under there, so there's someone up and another. They're just meeting minutes. Or after some time.
Yeah, this is our, well, we don't have this information on the web,
Okay.
so this is for us to look it over so we can get it on the web. Is what we're trying to do, yes?
So this is version 1, because we'll do version 2 today.
What we did today is what is, this is version 1.
Right, okay.
But take that home and look it over, and next time we talk about it, we can zero in on version 3.
All right, now who's gonna be responsible for putting this on the web? On our website?
The committee's email, Kristen?
And the person is not available. You Steve Alicia will take care of it.
Hello, Alicia.
You email both of us, and one of us.
All of this should be publicly available information.
Correspondence?
Correspondence. Moving right along.
Not being pushy at all.
Not at all, you wouldn't, no, Anna's not known for that at all. And you know, you're gonna be taking that responsibility from Rob.
I know.
Rob's usually the guy that says,
Be pushier.
move on, and it's, okay, correspondence and calendar review, when's our next planning board meeting?
Next week.
Next week.
We have training to on the 16th at 8:30 here in this room.
Yes,
And the next
After
the
that.
August meeting is
13th.
August the 13th, the next planning board meeting here at 8:30. Any other,
Before you adjourn. North Country Council was budgeted $20,000 for services. We are at 16,320 already.
What was-
So
I
for
missed-
services from North
Country
Country Council. We budgeted $20,000. We've already spent $16,320 of the budget. So please be mindful when you guys are using Liz's services. You have more than $3,000 left to spend.
Well, goodbye, Liz.
Oh, yeah. Can we?
Not until.
nice knowing you, Liz.
You're out.
We'll see you in
So-
January.
Liz, would you like to resign from a couple of working groups?
So what I was thinking is that I can give you the drafts, the first drafts that I've started. You guys can tear them apart and then shoot me emails asking questions like, hey, would this be okay to minimize costs? Also, not attending every planning board meeting, maybe if there's an important discussion that the planning board wants to have, email me. And then I can say yes or no, I can join in Zoom, just to be conscientious of that, so. Yeah,
That seems reasonable.
and I'll
Very interesting.
be as efficient as I can, so. with
Okay,
Everything.
I was asking Ed if that number can be changed. Is it something concrete? Is it?
Well, that's what was budgeted. I mean, if we go over, we can try to find money, but
well, we would have to request an increase
Select
through the
board.
select board, my understanding. Is that right,
otherwise we're
Mr. Dan?
Okay,
Is that the right procedure? Should we need it?
Yeah, I think so.
we have to go and tap our contingency.
No, I understand all the procedures.
The board can discuss it. With
I
that,
just want to make sure we.
figure out what a plan.
take
I
a collection.
unfortunately do understand governmental accounting. Having audited.
do I hear a motion?
Good, Jared.
I move we adjourn the meeting.
Voted in.
Second.
We'll make a motion to adjourn.
Somebody just did.
You did.
Okay, and
Second.
Catherine seconded it.
Mike was supposed to second. He did.
All in favor?
Going to-
Aye.
Aye.
Done. Thank you all.